Present.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't know. Go ahead. If you're going
sorry,
like
I
this, I don't know if you said something or not.
No, okay. Roll call, Mayor Bridget Keating,
Present.
Vice Mayor Christy Mossbach,
Here.
President Pro Tem Taylor Materio,
Here.
Councilmember Gregory Freebold,
Here.
Councilmember John Maples.
Here.
Okay. Is Pastor Standard today? Oh, somebody else. Moment of silence. We can stand. We have Dennis Bick, is the officer of Braden Bick's father. We can remember him. And we have pass somebody for the invocation.
No one's here.
Okay.
You can look if somebody comes for the next agenda.
Okay. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and I think you're up, Joe.
Yes, thank you. This is our last budget meeting. It started in May, and it concludes tonight. So let me start by making an official announcement, which is required. The Town of Lake Clark Shores setting and fixing a millage rate to be levied at 5.9000 mils, which is 4.93% over the rollback rate of 5.6228. This is the presentation that we went over 12 days ago. Nothing has changed, as you all know, in the budget. No numbers have changed. So there's really nothing to discuss that's new. If anyone wants to see that presentation, obviously go to our website. It's about 30 minutes long. And this is the presentation. The only thing I want to always highlight is how council and staff is working together. We said we would try to lower the millage rate, and we are accomplishing that task. We're being good stewards for the town's money. The last 3 years, so we've lowered the millage rate, and we're very proud of that. And as you can see, it wasn't lowered for many years prior to that, and now for 3 consecutive years, congratulations, we've lowered the millage rate. So that concludes my presentation, unless anybody has any questions on last 12 days ago presentation or anything else about the budget.
Okay, I think we have Tim wants to speak on the budget.
Tim Daughtry, 1410 Keller Road. Just going over the same ground that I did the last meeting, but I want to speak to one thing I saw on the budget. We did replace some asbestos pipe down in the southern areas of the utilities. Okay. It is one of those things, and I keep talking about infrastructure, okay? It is one of those things that we need to put some importance on, okay? It's past design life, okay? Most of this pipe is past design life. That doesn't mean it won't last. Same thing as with the bridge, okay? Concrete asbestos pipe can last 100 years, but we do continue to have breakages and everything else, and it's something we need to put some importance on, okay? And I mentioned again, the storm sewers is storm sewers, okay? And I see very little attention placed on the storm sewers either, and the roads, okay? I mean, we're gonna pave Pine Tree, but there are a lot of other roads that need to be paved and addressed. The one thing I want to continue to focus on, we are a small community, 1,500 houses, okay? And we spend way, way, way too much, okay? That's my opinion, okay? It's an opinion of some other people in town, okay? It is not necessarily an opinion of everybody. But we need to concentrate on where our dollars are going. Which Doge and with property tax changes that are going to be forced upon us by Tallahassee, and don't think that this isn't going to happen. It is going to happen, okay? There's a real push on that for property tax reform. which is going to affect our budget, okay? And we need to be proactive rather than reactive, okay? And that means we need to look at cost. We need to look at cost very, very carefully on item by item across the entire budget. The one thing I hear mentioned all the time, and it continues to be mentioned all the time and continues to be mentioned all the time, is the vehicles, the expenditure of vehicles in this town, okay? We need to get a handle on that, okay? We don't need to have almost brand-new vehicles every 2 years on the road, okay? We just don't need it. The only way to get your money out of vehicles is to buy vehicles brand new and run them into the ground, okay? I've been doing this all my life, okay? I know what it costs to run a vehicle on a daily basis. I put a lot more mileage on my vehicle than anybody who uses a company vehicle in this town, and I know what it takes to run a vehicle efficiently. You get it new, you run it into the ground. That's just the way it is. So there's nothing left out of it. This is the thing that I mentioned last time, and it's something I think we really need to focus on. The greatest portion of our budget is salaries, okay? And I really think that the highest salaried employees in this organization need to have their salaries frozen, okay? And then I think we should look at cuts at every department we have, okay? I can see where we could get rid of a person in each division of our town government. One person per, each division, okay? It would save us a good bit of money. And the fact is, this is not a really pleasant conversation to have, but it's a conversation we're going to have. And it makes sense for us to have the conversation now and instead of when we're forced to have this conversation, okay? Because we are going to be forced to have this conversation. So we need to start planning now. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. Any email, written, or verbal? No. Any council comments? Okay. I think this is now the town attorney's.
As required by Florida law, I will read the resolution in total. Resolution number 2025-19, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida, adopting a final millage rate of 5.9000 mils for the fiscal year 2025/2026. Whereas during the July 8, 2025 Town Council meeting, the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores discussed the proposed budget and proposed millage rate for fiscal year 2025/2026. And whereas during this meeting, the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores approved a proposed millage rate of 5.9950, set the date for the first budget hearing to be on Wednesday, September 3, 2025, and the date for the final budget hearing to be on Monday, September 15, 2025. And whereas the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores held its first public hearing as required by Florida Statute 200.065 on September 3rd, 2025, and dropped the millage rate to 5.9000, and the public notice of the Town Council's intention to adopt a millage rate of 5.9000 was published in the Palm Beach Post on September 11, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida as follows. Section 1, that the tentative tax rate hereby levied for fiscal year 2025/2026 shall be at the millage rate of 5.9000 mils upon the non-exempt valuation of real and tangible personal property lying and being and situated within the boundaries of the Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida. Section 2, the tentative 2025/2026 millage rate of 5.9000 mils is 4.93% over the rolled back rate of 5.6228 mils. Passed and adopted this 15th day of September 2025, Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida.
Do we have a motion?
We don't have to read the entire resolution to make the motion, right?
No, there's a recommendation right there. Down and dirty.
I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-19 to adopt a millage rate for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Town attorney, you got the second part two. Charlie?
This is the resolution adopting the budget, and this only needs to be read by the title. Resolution number 2025-20, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida, adopting a final budget for fiscal year 2025/2026.
Do we have a motion?
I so move.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Okay, we have I guess this is back to you for the
Yes.
5-year capital improvement.
This is required by our town comprehensive plan to have a 5-year capital improvement element. We also, besides using it for setting goals and planning out our strategic plan for the future, it also is a useful tool for grants. We get extra points on a grant if you see that there's something in there that we have been discussing with the town council. So obviously, if anybody has any questions, I'm here to answer them, but they're pretty standard. The first year is obviously what we had just approved, and then years 27 to 31 are just projections. And some of them, like a new bridge that is in 2031, is not something that we're planning. We don't think we need another bridge for like 10 or 20 years. But if you put it in there and you have it in your capital improvement element, just in case something comes up, you can get points on a grant. So that's why we put those things in there, even though we know we don't think we're going to do that project within the next 5 years.
Do we have any council comments? Any resident comments? Do we have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the 5-year capital improvement plan for the town of Lake Clark Shores.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So approved. And that is that's the end of the budget hearing, and we move on to the town council. Whenever you're ready, Mary.
Mayor Bridget Keating,
Present?
Vice Mayor Christy Mosbach,
Here.
President Pro Tem Taylor Materio,
Here.
Councilmember Gregory Freebold,
Here.
Councilmember John Maples.
Here.
Okay, any audience comments? Any email or?
No.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Bridget, Scott.
Okay. Fair enough.
Tim Daughtry, 1410 Keller Road. I see you're going to be voting on change orders and additional dollars for engineering services for the new bridge. I would love for the town to give the residents a total value for what this bridge is costing us, okay? We've approved certain change orders along the way, okay? And I would love to see what the final cost of the bridge is going to be to the residents. And I think it's a contract. There's going to be change orders, okay? Any major construction project. I readily admit that. I've been involved in enough jobs that change orders are something that's going to happen. But it has grown quite a bit since the original contract, and I would love to see a final accounting of what we're spending on the bridge. And I will say this again, and I will say this again, and I will say this again. The concrete on the west side of the bridge is not done properly, okay? And something really needs to be done about it. Every time I drive by there, it just really disgusts me, the quality of the concrete work on the west side of the bridge, okay? Okay, and that's the only thing I can say, okay? I've been doing construction all my life. And when I see that and I see that on something we spend that much money on, it really upsets me that nobody's addressed that. And it's wrong. It's definitely wrong. So, thank you very much.
Tim, quick question, Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
What exactly is wrong with it? It's, just so for clarity purposes.
It's
Well-
peaking at the end of the bridge, okay, on the west side, and it's not on the east side that way, okay?
Okay,
They
so,
they didn't laser it, okay? That's a normal thing you do when you're doing elevations on concrete. You laser it, or you use a story pole, or you use a transit, or whatever, okay? They didn't laser it, okay? It's really clear they didn't laser it, okay? You come to the end of the bridge on the west side going south, and it jumps up, and then the curvature at the end, it jumps down. And it's not as bad on the north side, but it is significant. All you gotta do is look at it on the west side at both of those points and go directly across the bridge to the east side and look at it. And there's a significant difference in the elevations, significant difference in the elevations. And I mean, I could go over there and put a laser on it and show you how bad it is, okay? It's pretty bad, okay? It isn't just an inch, okay? It's several inches of difference.
It is noticeable.
I mentioned it to you a couple weeks ago. It's significantly noticeable. And what concerns me the most is to make that elevation work. And I wasn't there when it was being done. I'm concerned that they parged the concrete to make the elevations work, which to me doesn't mean it has the proper backing on the concrete for it to hold up for a long period of time. Okay, that's my real concern there. Okay.
you said they parged it? I'm sorry?
So when you finish concrete, you get a finished look on it. You're taking concrete out of a pan and you're pushing it over the concrete to give it a finished look.
Mm-hmm.
And my concern is on the west side, to make those elevations work, they added and subtracted in certain locations. And I'm just concerned about how that's going to hold up over the long haul. Okay. And I mentioned that to you a couple weeks ago when I saw it. It's bugged me since I've seen it. Okay, I've been in construction all my life. When I see elevations like that, I mean, it's one of the first things I was taught on a job site was put a story pole up so that you can make sure your four corners are all the same,
So-
with transits and everything else. That is just basic stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And now we have lasers, which makes it so much easier.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Tim. Let me ask you this. The CA we got from the state, you think they would have noticed that or
No,
found
because it
it?
doesn't go to structure. It doesn't go
Okay.
to structure. It
Okay.
goes more to, well, it may go to structure over time, okay? But actually, for the finished product right now, no, it doesn't affect it. But the aesthetics, big difference, okay? Let's just put it this way. I worked under my uncle on my dad's job sites. My uncle would just, if he saw me do something like that, I'd have hell to pay. Let's just put it that way, okay?
Yeah.
It's just the way I was raised, okay?
Yeah.
Just the way I was raised. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And elevations need to be the same,
Yeah.
okay, from one point to another, okay? And the way to do that was a story pole, a transit, a laser, whatever. There's all sorts of products you can use out there. Use water level. That's what they do in pools all the time. They use the water level to make sure your tile's the right height and everything else, and make sure your coping's the right height, so that at one end of your pool, the water is not at a different level than from the other end of the pool, okay? It's just that simple, okay?
Joe, is it possible to get some clarity on that from our folks who did the bridge and see what they're, to that question, just to, if you want to talk to them and see,
I'll put that on the questions and answers on my,
that'd be great.
on the website.
That'd
I'll
be
get that
wonderful.
answered for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
And copy you guys with an email.
Mayor Keating, We have a comment online just following up on Mr. Daughtry's.
Okay.
The comment is from Casey Boyer, and he is asking, why did it pass inspection then, and is it dangerous?
It is not dangerous. It did pass all the inspections by the state, and I will get you an answer promptly.
And I believe Tim mentioned that it's not now, but it could be in the future, so they would be, from a state inspection perspective,
Yeah.
it wouldn't show.
We will get you an answer on the future longevity of the bridge, too, with that elevation change.
Absolutely, thank you.
Sure.
Any other resident comments? You want to consider a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That's forward.
We're moving.
And moving along, and I believe Mr. Pinsky is up.
Hello, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Richard Pinsky. And are these new?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
And on what's under your feet is new, too. The flooring.
The whole floor?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, I like the upgrade. Sitting there, it's like, oh, I'm on camera right now. You can see me really
And you can
well.
see.
That's a good thing. So there are two recommendations that I want to make to the commission going forward for the upcoming session. And the first is a follow-up to what you all heard 2 weeks ago when Jason Andreatta was here from DEP. And not to repeat it, but I think it could not be clearer the direction he gave to the council. Love all your requests, Lake Clark Shores, but we're not going to pay attention to them until you address the septic issue. That puts the town in an awkward position because to get the sewer conversion completed takes a great deal of money. So I'm going to suggest that, and so we were in line, if we were receiving funds and everything was going well, this was actually our second priority last session. We were focused on cleaning the lake. And the second priority was the MICA West, what we call the phase 2 of the septic to sewer conversion. And so back in 2019, when we first started looking at that, when we were getting ready to do the CRA in phase 1, we were getting ready to look at phase 2. And at that time, the phase 2 with 135 homes approximately was around $7.6 million. That would require going to Tallahassee, a mandatory House Rule $3.8 million match. So now fast forward to 2025, and that same project today would be $9.6 million, and approximately a $5 million match by the town. That's a significant commitment. However, and credit Dan Clark for finding this and bringing it to our attention, and that is we were applying for the Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund for the cleanup of the lake. There is, within the loan fund, there is an additional silo that not many people pay attention to because usually there's not that much money in it, and that is the Clean Water State Revolving Loan Grant Program. And that grant program was by now would have been issuing warrants money to communities. However, the federal government, so the loan fund gets a federal match and the grant program gets a federal match. It's like an 80-20. A funny thing happened on the way to issuing the money, and that is the federal government, as a result of Hurricane Milton and not many people accessing those dollars, actually was able to allocate more dollars from that federal hurricane fund to the state of Florida for the grant program, bringing it up to something like $38 million, which is a high water mark for that grant. So in communication with FDEP with the help of Jason Andriotta, Dan and I and your city manager, Joe Lobello, sort of put our heads together and said, you know what? Why don't we put Phase 2, Micah West? You don't need a match for this grant, and we like that. We like going for things that don't require a match. And so let's put in for the $10 million, whatever we get, goes toward the good of the order. And let's put that in as a Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund grant request, which we are going to do with your approval tonight to go ahead and make that application. That would take care of a non-legislative request, but going through FDEP and hopefully leveraging our newfound friend Jason Andriotta to help us. Moving on to the legislative request, in water projects, while you have septic to sewer, you have all these different things. One priority that transcends all other water projects, and that is drinking water, because that is a public health and safety issue. So when DEP and through the legislature sees drinking water projects, particularly wells that have gone bad, people that are on drinking water wells and whatnot, they tend to get a priority. So that's when Manager Joe Lobello, we discussed the asbestos pipe that continues to fail on a regular basis, that sometimes requires a boil water notice by the town to the residents. And so we thought that would be a much better use of a legislative request that requires a 50% match, but that project would be a $2.7 million to do the construction, replace all the pipe, and there would be no more drinking water problem. The 50% match would be $1.35 million commitment from the town, which I think is
The utility fund.
doable.
It's from the utility funds?
Yeah, there's all utility funds. Yes.
So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's my recommendation. It took a lot of brain power to really come to the conclusion. We tried everything we could with DEP, but and I'm glad that Jason Andriotta came here a couple of weeks ago, because it was not a happy answer to what we were hoping to get from DEP, but it is the reality. So we have pivoted, and thank God we found the grant opportunity. Don't know if we're going to get it, but it is worth applying for, and then that makes our legislative request a drinking water issue, which should be a priority in the eyes of the legislature. But happy to answer any questions about Tallahassee. There was some budget projections out of Tallahassee last week, so any general information, happy to answer.
Any questions?
Good at this time.
I do have one. Richard, thank you for being here this evening. The utility for the pipe, is that, I'm assuming, Joe, that's part of like a deferred maintenance that we can now try to take care of and address?
Yeah, it was, we were thinking if we got to rip up that road, if we do get this grant, we have to change all the water pipes anyway. So let's apply for an appropriation to get that water pipe paid for, even if it's 50/50.
And you say rip up that road, what road are you referring to?
All the roads in Micah West.
Oh, and Michael
This
West,
is along
for the.
Yeah, it's Caribbean.
Caribbean Drive.
Caribbean.
Caribbean.
That makes sense.
Yes. So we're just trying to get as much money as we can for that project.
Yeah, and I think that is the form you have in front of you.
Yes.
This is typically what the House form looks like, and then it's fill in the blank, and then the narrative gets completed, and they also like looking at, we have no overhead other than construction costs in there. There's no administrative costs, and that makes it look that much better. And we're shovel ready.
I applaud your creativity and your ability to pivot and seek new sources of money for us. Thank you for that.
Good, thank you.
Do we need action? Do we need a motion, or?
Now, this is how staff looks at these things. We're going to apply for everything we can, because you still have an opt-out. Always the council has an opt-out. You can always deny the funds, even appropriations. You can say no if you don't do the project within 2 years. The money goes back. Usually the money's not in advance anyway. It's usually after the project's done. So we look at it as we're not committing to anything. We're just applying for stuff. And if anything hits, obviously you have a vote then later.
Okay. Thank you, Richard.
I don't know if I want to leave right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we
I don't know
talk
if you
about-
can leave right now.
No question. No, we'll probably, we will be using Representative Tendridge and Senator Mac Bernard to sponsor the request.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
Officer Dominguez. Welcome.
Well, good evening, council.
Good evening.
Mayor,
evening.
Vice Mayor, Joe. All right. I want to be clear. This is not just about numbers on paper. This is about the future of our police department, the safety of our residents, and whether Lake Clark Shores will remain competitive in law enforcement or fall further behind. Right now, Lake Clark Shores is the lowest paid police department out of 26 agencies in Palm Beach County. We're also one of only 2 agencies in the county that does not offer a defined pension. This cannot continue. Officers who dedicate 15, 20, 25, or even 30 years of their lives protecting this town should not have to worry about how they will survive after retirement. The expectation is simple and fair. After we take care of the town should take care of us. The reality of law enforcement is harsh. The average lifespan of a police officer is only 8 to 10 years after retirement. That makes a secure pension not just a financial issue, but a moral obligation. A pension is what allows an officer to retire with dignity without the constant stress of wondering how to provide for their family after decades of sacrifice. Without competitive pay and benefits, we cannot recruit qualified officers, we cannot keep the ones we train, and this is not a theory, council. This is our history. Over the past 20 years, we have lost officers because the pay and benefits here simply cannot support them and their families. And when we talk about increasing the starting salaries for new officers, we must also take care of the officers who have already served this department for years. Pay adjustments must reflect their experience and loyalty. It is unacceptable for long-serving officers to fall behind while new recruits come in at nearly the same pay. Fairness requires lifting everyone. Our health benefits are also in the bottom tier when compared to other police departments. The industry standard is clear. The town covers 80% of the premium, and the officer covers 20%. In practice, that means that the officer's individual coverage is almost always fully paid, and for family coverage, officers should pay only about 20%. Here, that standard is not met. This is especially harmful because most officers have families, spouses, and children who need reliable health insurance. Forcing officers to carry excessive premium costs is simply another way our department falls behind. Other police departments in Palm Beach County routinely provide benefits that are considered basic standards of the profession, including such defined pension, take-home vehicles, step plans, 12-hour shifts, and fair overtime pay structures, and et cetera. These are not extras. These are industry standards, and by not offering them, we're putting Lake Clark Shores at a disadvantage. With that being said, morale. Morale comes directly from how much the town shows its value for its officers. When you invest in your police officers, the message is clear. We respect you, we support you, and we want you to succeed. When you do not, the message is just as clear, and it is damaging. Lifting the spirits of this department requires meaningful investment. Without it, morale will remain low and turnover will remain high. Residents deserve a top-tier, highly respected, and fully staffed police department. Without that, the town faces serious risk. Higher turnover, inexperienced officers, increased exposure to litigation from poor performance or mistakes by undertrained personnel. Long-term costs that will far outweigh the investment it takes to be competitive now. Council, the reality we face is this contract is make or break for the Lake Clark Shores Police Department. We cannot continue as we have for the past 20 years, losing officers, being last in pay, offering bottom-tier benefits, and expecting our officers to risk their lives in one of the most expensive counties to live in without competitive compensation. We're not asking for anything extravagant. We're asking for what is fair, competitive, and standard across Palm Beach County. Bottom line, it's unacceptable to be last in pay out of 26 agencies. It is unacceptable to be one of only 2 departments without a defined pension. It is unacceptable for officers to spend their careers protecting this town only to face retirement and uncertainty. It is unacceptable to have bottom-tier health benefits. It is unacceptable to deny officers basic benefits. In closing, council, this is about more than money. It is about public safety, supporting the men and women who wear the badge here in Lake Clark Shores. Ensuring this community has the professional, well-trained, well-supported police department it deserves. The most successful businesses in the world have one thing in common. They value and invest in their employees. They understand that when you invest in your people, the return on that investment is always far greater than the cost. Stronger employees create stronger organizations, and stronger organizations succeed. The same principle applies here. By investing in your police officers, you're not just funding salaries. You're investing in safety, stability, professionalism, and the long-term success of Lake Clark Shores. And I want to be clear, the police department wants to work closely with the town council and the town manager to reach an agreement that benefits both the town and the police department. We all have a vested interest in this community. Our officers love working for Lake Clark Shores. I love working for Lake Clark Shores. This is an amazing place to serve, but spirits must be lifted and investments must be made to ensure our department reaches its full potential. Together, we can make Lake Clark Shores Police Department not just good, but great. A department our residents are proud of, our officers are proud to serve in, and our town can point to as a model of excellence. And the choice is clear, and the time to act is now. And that's it.
You have any council comments, questions?
Officer Dominguez, thank you
Yes,
for being willing to come here today. And I see you got your brothers with you.
I do.
And obviously,
And sister.
it says a lot.
And sister.
And sister.
But thank you, because most people aren't willing to come up here and this type of negotiations and share their perspective and give us a real sense of what boots on the ground are feeling, what they're talking about, what's going on behind closed doors. So thank you for being willing to stand up and do the hard thing and do the speech and
Yes,
put
sir.
on the tie and look good, all the things. So I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you. It's helpful.
Thank you. I just want to say it's imperative that we get together and we do what's right, not just for the police officer and the police department, but
For the town.
for the residents, the town. They deserve highly qualified individuals, high quality service, and I think we can make that happen together.
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And Chief Smith will tell you, recently retired Chief Smith. I wish I can't wait to say those words. I've been very supportive over the years, ever since I've been on council of the police department, trying to enhance it, trying to make your guys' lives better, do a better job. We had a system in here before where the training was coming in and leaving. They weren't even trying to stay here, period. They just wanted their foot in the door, get to another department, and move on. We understand where the dollars are for everybody here. So what would you say when we have residents coming up here telling us we're spending too much money? Your police vehicles aren't worth the money. You heard it right here. So I just want to know what we say. I don't happen to have that same philosophy or thought process, but
I would
if that's
say
what's
this.
going on out there.
Well, I would say this. I would say that if you want quality service and you want a police department that's going to provide that excellent service that everyone wants, you have to invest in your officers and your police department.
I
can't.
tend
this
to
is-
agree.
This is a profession you cannot cut corners on.
Okay.
Okay, out of everything that you do in this town, you cannot cut corners on the police department. I mean, I fear for this police department. That's where we're at right now. I mean, you can have 3, 4, 5 guys leave, and the next thing you know, you don't have anybody on the road. So we're basically at a stance where, hey, if you want a police department, you gotta make that investment. If you don't, then let the sheriff's office take over. But I love this place. I've been working here for over 6 years. I'm a family guy. I got 4 kids. But just be honest, nobody can survive off of $58,000. That's what this town pays its officers to come in and risk their life, put a gun and a badge on, say, hey, I'm going to take that bullet for you and your family.
I hear you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for
Yes.
being here.
Thank you.
I want all of you all to know that you are very much valued, and particularly one of the things that makes Lake Clark Shores feel like home is the community policing, and guys like Manic over there, and who's out handing out reflective vests and just the care that you all show for the residents. So I want you all to feel valued, not just by our words, but in other ways as well. And we'll
Yes, ma'am.
we'll see what we can do.
Thank you. I've been on your side. I'm definitely a union person, so I get your side of it. And I know we need to do better. So I think this is the beginning of follow-up meetings with us and with you to make you guys happy, you guys safe, but also do right by the residents. So in negotiations, that not everybody gets their side, gets their way. So we have to find some kind of compromises somewhere.
Yes, ma'am. And again, this is a great place to work. We love working here. It's a family it's a community environment, and that's why I love working here. And I haven't jumped ship because I know that there's a lot of potential here, and we can make this thing great. We have great leadership. We got great people working here, and I think that if we all come together, we can make it happen.
and I echo the sentiments of the council. We are the town residents definitely want a community-type policing. PBSO is not that, and no matter what their salaries are, you're not going to get that same type of service. So we're a small town. Community service is what I think that residents want. Let's make the rubber hit the road.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, council. Have a good night.
You too. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care, Roger.
Okay. No quasi judicial proceedings.
I'm glad you said it.
Tongue-tied. No public hearings, and unfinished business.
Change order, yes. As you know, change orders are common practice in a project like this of building a bridge. It's very complex, and that takes almost a year to build. All the costs are actually in here, so the project went out for $2,465,708.15. Let me talk about 4 change orders that were actually approved by the owners, or initiated by the owners. And let me take a little time on the asbestos, because we took a lot of time talking about asbestos. Asbestos is safe. It's been known to be safe. What it is that's not safe is dust of the asbestos. So when you actually uncover a pipe that's asbestos, you have to deal with it. You have to mitigate it. You have to take it out by professionals. We can't take it out. So, but it is known to be safe if it's running in the water, if it's running with water in it. It's just when it's exposed. So when change order number 1 came, and they discovered that the pipes that were connecting to the bridge on both sides were asbestos pipes, I immediately said, take it out and let's do a change order. So, and that's what the common practice is. You take it out, you take it from valve to valve, and so that we know from so many feet past the bridge, and that's what we do with GIS. We identify that asbestos pipe has been changed out with regular pipe. So that was done immediately. That was approved by me and will be paid by the utility fund. So anytime we see it, and especially when it's exposed, again, it's the dust of the asbestos. It's not when it's in water. And all these pipes are getting old. They were done in the 1930s and the 1970s, believe it or not, and they do have a useful life of somewhere between 50 to 100 years, but they're all getting close to that. So they do need to be changed out, but not because of health issues. That's why I wanted to spend a little time on this, because we're talking about health. It's the lead pipes that what we talk about, having lead pipes that are dangerous. We do not have any lead pipes in the town. We had to do an inspection of all of our pipes. We have no lead pipes. Asbestos pipes has been known to be safe, but they have a useful life. And when after they met their useful life, they crack, and we have to repair them a lot. So, and once you do one repair, you should take the whole thing out because of safety, to deal with the dust of the asbestos, not when it's touching water. So does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why I approved that first change order. Then the second change order was for the railing system. We actually approved $70,000. It only came into $16,000, but that was more of a scope issue where we looked at changing the whole wall, the whole concrete wall, to a decorative wall. FDOT shut us down really quick on that, so we didn't even have to go to the engineers too much. They said, no way, you have to put that barrier concrete wall in. But the pedestrian, we call it the pedestrian rail that's on top of it, you can change that out. So we're putting in a more decorative pedestrian rail on top of that concrete wall. That should be done in about 2 weeks, and that only came in at a cost of $16,000. Again, we approved 70, but it was not the same scope because we were looking at the whole wall. Change order number 4, we approved $60,000 for lighting. It's in 3 parts. There's actually the infrastructure for the lights, the pipes, the conduits, the wires, the circuit breakers, all that stuff. That came in at $20,000. Then there's actually ordering the lights. You guys did a great job of ordering lights. We have them here. I'm very fond of this company, Steinberg. They do an excellent product. I used them before. We should have these light poles starting installation this week. If this weather holds up, they're gonna put them in this week. They're beautiful poles, and the 3 parts are the $20,000 for the infrastructure, Then there was $22,000 to actually buy the poles and for the engineering drawings, and then another $13,000 for another contractor because we went out to bid on that. It's a separate from Ferrara to actually install the lights. So it's under the $60,000 that you approved, and 50% will be paid from the CRA fund. The last thing that we initiated was to see and check if the base layer of under the approach of the bridges, the asphalt that comes to the bridge, if the base, you guys see the top of a roadway is called the pavement or the asphalt. Under that's a sub-base, so you check the sub-base to see if it's structurally sound. We found it to be structurally sound. We called it a change order, but we really didn't do anything with it. We didn't spend any money, but I wanted to make sure you saw that there's 8 change orders. Number 7 was basically not used. So those are the 4 that came out to $76,000 that we initiated, and it added 10 days to the contract. Any questions on those before I get into that were not initiated by us? Okay. Obviously, the big one was, and the one I lost some hair on, was these rocks. I did. Hair was starting to fall out of my head. We discovered that there was under the bridge that we could not discover, even though they had exploratory before they actually went out to bid on this bridge. There was big boulders under the bridge that was the remnants, we believe, of the bridge before that. So they dumped all the iron and rocks, and they were size of Volkswagens, small cars. So they had to take out all those rocks before they actually could put the pilings in. So we were at, this is where I lost some hair, it was at $360,000, $359,000 that they thought this would cost. The CEI, which is, I'll use that word a lot, CEI is Construction, Engineering, and Inspections. That's basically the project manager, because there's an engineer that designs it, and by law, there's an engineer that's separate by Florida law that has to inspect it and be the engineer of record while the bridge is being built. So he has negotiated this with staff's help from the $359,000 to $130,000 and change. So $229,000 reduction. So we're okay with approving this now, and we're looking into exploring with our town attorney if this can be paid by the CRA at 50%, because half of the rocks were discovered in the boundaries of the CRA, and half of them were not in the boundaries. So Charlie and I will continue that discussion.
And it delayed it by,
And it delayed it by 24 days. The next item I'm not going to talk about a lot because it's not resolved. It's change order, was it 5? Yes, 5. And that was originally for $161,000. It's roughly at $95,000, the latest, but it's on some extra rebar that needed to be put in. But since it's not resolved, and since it has 3 parties that we're discussing, and it could lead to litigation, or who knows where it could lead to, staff's not gonna discuss it, nor have a recommendation on this change order, just to tell you it is outstanding. Change order number 6 is some minor repairs on the seawall that was on the southwest corner that we needed to repair because of damage that was unforeseen. Change number 8 is a very common thing where you actually measure how much fill and actually how much asphalt and how much concrete, how much curbing, all this, the rocks, the rip rocks that are on side of the bridge. So you actually, there's an estimate, and then you actually see how much did we put in there. The net cost was an extra $15,582. So all of the ones that were initiated by the contractor, Ferrara, added up to $154,622.61. We are recommending that we're okay with them, and we recommend the council approve change order number 3, 6, and 8, and hold off on 5.
I'll make a motion to approve change orders 3, 6, and 8 in a total amount of $154,622.61.
do we have a second?
I will second.
Any comments?
I have
Questions?
comments. Yeah.
I do have a comment. Joe,
ahead, you
where, thank you. Where are we getting this 154? Where are we pulling that from?
It'll come out of reserves, and we did have a little extra. We were getting a little concerning when it was that 360 number. Now that it's this kind of figure, we're not as concerned as, obviously, we don't want to pay any of it, but change orders of 6% is not out of the ordinary.
Now, do we say half of, we're gonna try to get half of this out of the CRA?
Well, we're still negotiating that with Charlie, and he hasn't come up with,
I said try.
we're still trying, yes.
Are you finished, John?
Yeah, so that pushes us up to,
We're gonna go over all this in October or November when we do a big change order.
okay.
But we're gonna
Good.
obviously we're gonna recommend using the infrastructure money, empty that out, close it out, put it towards the bridge, use as much CRA money as possibly, use as much utility funds. You know, obviously, we had the water pipe and all that as part of the project, so we're trying to take out the cost of that water pipe. All of that will come out of the utility fund that we're gonna recommend, and that's why we're gonna do it all in October or November, probably November.
Why would we have another change order beyond this? You said a big change order.
Did I say that? I'm sorry. No change order. It's, a budget amendment.
Yes.
No change order.
Yeah.
Budget amendment,
He did
just
say-
where to take the money out of. Sorry.
It'd be
If
coming
I
out of different
misspoke.
pots.
Yes.
Are you finished, John?
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Just on principle, I have a problem with change order number 6, because the builder damaged the seawall. Why are we paying for something that they did? If I take my car to the garage, the mechanic, and he backs into it, and he says, I got some bad news. I backed into your car, but I got some good news. It's only gonna cost you $8,000 for me to fix it. It just doesn't seem reasonable to me.
How, in the scope of things, how did that occur?
They knew it was an issue, and they just didn't know how bad it would be. It was all the range could have been, we had to replace the whole seawall, or to no damage to the seawall, or just some, and that's what happened. We had minor damage to the seawall, so
Minor
I think.
damage happened in the occurrence of the regular project itself.
Right. We all knew this was gonna happen. We just, so you don't put it in the project, you just say, it's gonna happen, hopefully luck. I think we're lucky. We're only spending $8,700 actually. In my opinion, it's way higher than that. So, I'm very happy with that change order actually, but I understand your perspective. It's an excellent perspective. But we knew that, everybody knew that going in, there was an issue when you're putting in pilings right next to a seawall, that this could happen.
And I have another overall thought about all this. I think this discussion could only be had in conjunction with the discussion about the fact that they went 26 days over on their contract. I think that's all part and parcel of
Was part of the negotiation process, the plus and minus, because they were delayed, and there's X amount cost and X amount that we would have normally charged, or is that irrelevant because of the unforeseen circumstances?
I could just tell you, in a it's common practice, and again, I'm not the project manager, it's the CEI. But the CEI, it's very common practice, you ask for a change order, either side, from by the owner or by the contractor, you ask for more days. They always ask for more days. Again, I didn't think this was gonna be a big deal. I thought this project would have been done in July, that would have never came up, but, you know, you always don't wanna give away the farm in days. But you can see that change order on the asbestos, we gave a few days. You can't work on that project. When you have asbestos dust in the area, they can't be around that area. So you had to give them days. So we only gave them 5 days or something like that.
So
5 days.
some of the days were
So-
because one issue
Yeah.
came up, then it pushed everything back, which
But-
really wasn't their fault.
No, and the rock issue, we gave them 24 days, but it took them a month to figure that out. And that's,
So in all,
I could just tell you, this is common.
all in all those delays, they would have been on time if they didn't have all those delays.
Right, if they didn't have, we never talked about the utility issues, but we had a lot of utility issues. If they didn't have that and these other unforeseen circumstances, they would have been done in July, in my opinion.
I have 3 points that I'd like to make on the fact that they were 26 days late and their contract called for them to finish on August 6th and pay $1,000 a day for every day over that period of time. Now, if one of my kids came to me and said, I have a 10-page 10-page paper due tomorrow. Mom, I don't. I said, well, when was it assigned? Oh, a month ago? Looks like you're pulling an all-nighter. And these guys, that bridge was closed down, and not a nary a man on work for the first 2 months that it was closed down. All of October, all of November. And then throughout the winter, I would walk past it every day with my dog, and I'd see days and days go by when nobody was there. So if they started late, that's on them. That's not on us, right? They wasted. And I called Joe all the time. I said, Joe, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? He says they could do the whole project in 1 month at the end if they so choose. You know, he says I can't keep them on track for a timeline.
Oh, yes, I did say that.
So when the rock thing happened, I asked Joe, I said, can we have the contractor and the engineer inspector guy come and address us and talk to us a bit about it? And they both declined the invitation, so they didn't have the respect for this body to come and walk us through it. So I'm here to represent the people of Lake Clark, and I cannot, in good conscience, not enforce that clause in their contract. And I would not want to be the one I can't imagine anybody, the phone calls that you would get if you didn't enforce that contract. The vitriol and the Facebook pages and the phone calls I was getting was legendary.
So to that point, thank you, Kirsty, for bringing that up, Joe. How does that factor in the negotiations of the 26,000? How does that factor in with?
If we approve those change orders, they're not late.
So if we approve these change orders today, then it negates the $26,000.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
Well, that's not good.
All I could tell you is very common practice. I mean, your town attorney's here, you can ask him, but I've got many years of doing this, and it's a very common practice that they add days yes.
They started the project 2 months later than they should have, and their original timeline called for them to finish on, I think it was June 6th, 2 months before the contract deadline. So it's on them that they wasted time at the beginning of the contract. It should not be on us. I might approve some of these monetary changes, but I will not approve anything that doesn't include enforcing the $26,000 that they owe us in the contract.
Was it 2 months they didn't work for the first 2 months?
No, not a man on site.
Remember, we met with utility companies a year before.
Yeah.
We thought they were going to be. There was a bill that was passed by Tallahassee that they would get reimbursed for. So maybe that's what slowed them down. But they didn't say that to me. They complained about the hurricanes. Remember, the tornadoes. I'm sorry, not the hurricanes. The tornadoes, that they're so busy. They're busy in Palm Beach, and you can't force them to work. So they could not start until the utilities were cleared. So that's what I said about the
They
utility
shouldn't have
questions.
closed the bridge if that was going to be an issue.
Well, they needed to close the bridge to get the utilities. I know it doesn't sound right, but I disagree on one point, that the contractor was very responsive. You got a good contractor. They built us a good bridge, a very sound bridge, and and when they could do work, they were there. Even on Saturdays, on holidays, I think
Well, that was only because they saw that they dawdled in the beginning.
No, I've seen them many delays, and
January, February, there was a lot of not work going on over
I just respectfully disagree. I think they were a very good contractor.
I personally cannot approve anything that doesn't enforce the $1,000 a day penalty. I can approve these financial changes, but not the timeline changes.
Well, let me say, if you have to litigate this, $26,000 is cheap. You can multiply that by 6 or 8 if you have to litigate in costs.
And I find that when you go to arbitration, which is required before you go to the laws, again, I was on the board of Seacoast for over 20 years. This project is nothing compared to Seacoast project. The courts have seemed to be in favor of the contractor when I was
Well-
Charlie can comment on that.
I will be very surprised if it, either in arbitration or in litigation, they aren't awarded some extra days.
It's, so I feel for the residents. We tried our best. It's just these unforeseen things happened. And utility companies were not my friend in any of this. But the contractor was responsive.
And I have a different perspective, and I live just down the street. I saw that there were delays, and every time I picked up the phone and talked to Joe, there's a process. If Part A doesn't get done, B, C, and D can't get done. And the utilities held us up significantly, and he was on the phone every day, and you can't do anything. As much as we were dissatisfied, unhappy, when we say utilities, that's FP&L, that's AT&T, that's Comcast, that's the gas line. It's even our own utilities, but our own utility was the only one that was on time.
We can fire them.
And I completely understand why you feel that we should be penalizing them. But they made up more than those days that they lost in holidays and weekends, that if all those things would have been done in a timely manner, things that were not under their control, that bridge would have been done early. I have no doubt about it. Unfortunately, like he said, and like Charlie said, we have unforeseen circumstances that are in construction, and even Tim will admit to that. You can't, that's things you have to allow for, and they were in the timelines of it. As long as it's taken, trust me, we all been inconvenienced. The people in Venetian, the people on Pine Tree, people on Keller, the people on Westlake. I think we got a great contractor. Did we get it on time? No, but I think we have a great bridge, and maybe there's some fine tuning that we need to look at. But I think this is no fault of Farrar, and I think they should be paid, and we can work out the fine tuning. Just like Charlie said, if we want to litigate this, we're gonna pay the piper a lot more than this $26,000. As unhappy as we are.
Well, their original timeline had them finishing 2 months early, and they blew past that 2-month cushion that they gave themselves,
Right.
and then some.
But even
Well, that was not contractual. That
Right.
was
I know it wasn't, but it was.
that was me
it was
asking.
scope
Well,
of
let
work.
me go over that. That was me asking that this is really inconvenient, inconvenience to a lot of our residents, and I explained that, and I shook 'em by Venetian and all that, and they, then you see really how inconvenienced this is going to be for their residents. So they understood. They said, Joe, I'll give you a timeline. They didn't have to do that. And they could have said nothing. That was not required. And they gave me a timeline. They've updated that timeline, and they said, we'll try to get it done by July. And they were really confident that was going to happen until the utilities issues came up and those rocks came up. So,
And then fast forward, you had the rebarb issue.
yeah, I'm not going to comment on that, on that issue.
And that, we can't talk about that because of litigation, but that was part of the delay
was
at
another
the end. At the end, they were ready to pave it and asphalt it and complete it, and they couldn't move forward because of the design flaw. So, which we can't talk about because it's still being negotiated. But that was also a later event that caused them the stoppage. So we had the stoppage in the beginning from the utilities and other factors that are beyond Farrar's control. But again, if you can't do one, you can't do 2, 3, 4, and 5. So they were ready to do 2, 3, and 4, 5, but one couldn't get done.
So, to be clear, if we don't approve these change orders, most likely we would be heading to litigation to fight for the $26,000. I just want to make sure that we all understand that.
Yes.
Mr. Scheck, let me ask a follow-up to that. Would we, if this were to go to litigation, would we lose some days? Would they grant them, they say, hey, there was a tornado, so you got to give them 4 days, or there was this, so you got to give them 5 days, so we would actually not really, in essence, get the full 26,000? Is that likely?
I obviously don't know
Right.
what the final results would be, but I can tell you from my experience, they will be most likely granted some number of days. So it will be less than the 26.
And
Thank
we're
you.
also paying.
And you're going to then be paying for,
Legal fees.
yes.
Call the question.
Thank you, Mr. Scheck.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
I think we got to make a motion, don't we?
I did.
We did,
And it was
no,
seconded.
no, that was why we were speaking.
That was a long
Yes.
time ago.
By the
Yes.
way, I would,
It's
I
been
would
that
note,
long.
by the way, that we, on that bridge update page that was updated every week, it had big black bolded letters that said, the contractor has to pay $1,000 a day. We were promising that to our residents.
Since we're commenting still,
Yeah.
I think we all feel the same way as you about the bridge. I think it was a frustrating process for all of us and our residents to go through. I think we can't go backwards, and right now we are presented with, if we do not approve these change orders, we will go to litigation, because we cannot foresee the future. And regardless, if we say no and we go to litigation, we are paying for legal fees, and most likely are not gonna get the $26,000. So I completely understand your point of view. It feels unfair to give them that, but we are faced with what comes next
Are we not able to go back and negotiate
with an attorney.
the 26,
Remember, this was done by
tell
not,
the residents
this was,
something?
thi-
Because we promised them that it'd be
we-
$1,000 a day.
this is done by an independent, that's why you have an independent CEI, that they're independent of us, the
I'm
town.
not talking about the dollars amount, I'm
No,
talking
no, I
about
know.
the days.
I'm just, they're the ones that I didn't recommend the 11 days for item number 5 or the 24 days for item number 3. That this is recommended by the CEI, who's an independent. He's going to go on the stand and he said, "This is what I believe should have been given to them," and he doesn't have. He's independent. So, in my opinion, you don't have a good case. But
And I think the negotiated amounts are actually very good amounts.
Generous.
I was surprised that they were negotiated to the point they were. So the CEI and the engineers, I think, did an admirable job.
and staff.
And staff, yes, in
And the town
negotiating this.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm very happy with.
I'm very happy with those numbers.
Yes, I am.
Okay, the record shows 4-1 on the vote.
Thank you, and I apologize to the residents that it was delayed. I did try my best to get it done in July.
Well, I can say, Joe, thanks for the updates on the website and all the stuff that the council gave you to do, and you did it to try to communicate with residents better for something this big. So that was definitely super helpful, and you were pretty active on those updates as they came about. So that was something. Something.
Plus all 5 of us calling him every
I'm sure
Yeah.
multiple times a day.
Yeah.
There was that too.
All right.
Okay, part 2.
All right, the next one obviously is, the way I look at this is the CEI is like you're hiring an engineer, you're hiring a CPA, you're hiring an attorney to do a job. And as you remember, we got multiple bids on this job and we went with $100,000 lower contract, which was Baxter and Woodman. And they assumed we would be done about in July, and they don't assume change orders and everything else, so obviously they put more time into the CEI function of all these change orders and all these delays. So they are asking for, and their detail is in here, of $110,000 and change extra for their services. And it's no different when you have a contract and you have it with an attorney or CPA, when the scope changes of work, you're liable for that work. I'm not happy with it. I tried to negotiate as much as I could, but that's where we're at, is $110,000. He's still working. He's trying to, I talked to him today, a couple times on change order number 5. So he's still working on things, but hopefully this will end the bill.
And I think, didn't it say through September, he's the whole,
Yeah, he's given us extra time, but he wants to get paid, and I'm the town
Has he
attorney.
been paid the original 180 or the?
Yes, yes,
Yes, okay.
yes, but he has not been paid this.
And so what would be the alternative to approving and paying for this man's services, or woman? I don't know. I've never met them.
We get sued and we have to pay it with legal fees.
You know,
That for the record.
All right.
it's like my agreement with the town budgets a certain amount, but there are some years where my invoices are less than that budgeted amount, so I get paid less than the budgeted amount. There are some years where, because of the work, I exceed the budgeted amount, and I get paid the excess based on the work that was assigned. And that's what happened here. There was additional work, And it's my opinion, they're entitled to be paid for it.
And as you can see, it's not just legal fees. He's responsible, the lead person responsible for saving us $250,000 in change orders. So he did his job.
I like to think of this like building a house.
Exactly the same.
You have a budget,
And how many
and they
times
tell
does
you
it fall in
it's going
budget?
to be done in 2 years. Course is done in 3,
Yeah.
and it's about 100 to 150,000 more than what you originally estimated. Gosh, man, note to self: don't build anything brand new. Just go buy something.
This
On
is a
out loud.
60% increase. A 60% increase. Now, if this project went over by 26 days, let's call that a month. If his original 10-month contract was for $186,000, that works out to $18,000 or $19,000 a month, right? But now, let's even say that he had to work 2 extra months. That's $37,000 extra. But somehow or other, he's coming in and saying he wants $110,000 extra for an extra 1 or 2 months of work.
I would imagine, and Joe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, not being in this business, is that he's probably having to do a little bit of work on this change order business, and that's what's sucking up a lot of the hours and time that he didn't have when he first set out the contract for this job.
Exactly.
And then the change order piece and the work, and we're making him negotiate, put on his negotiation hat and try to get this thing down to a reasonable number. That requires time, and I think that's what he's charging us for. Is that correct?
You're exactly right.
He has it in here.
And I believe the timeline goes all the way back to March till now.
But why, if
got it
hey,
looked.
Joe,
Yes, ma'am.
if the bridge was supposed to be finished in June or July, or possibly August,
Easy one.
why was his contract ending at the end of March?
No, it wasn't that. The extra time that he put into this project started in March. That's what he's saying.
Okay, so,
in March, that's when we discovered those rocks and stuff. I don't know exactly the timeline, but
right,
but that's how he's explaining it. He had a budget, and he put so many hours, but every week, and starting in March, he had to put more time into this project. And
okay,
It
so,
wasn't the scope
so
of work.
let me make a point here. The structural engineer, according to this spreadsheet, put in an extra 358 hours. That's 9 weeks, 40-hour weeks. He didn't work on any other projects, didn't review anything else. That's more than the 3 weeks that the contractor said it took to do the darn rocks. So I think 358 hours extra is obscene, frankly. 9 weeks.
Isn't that from March to September?
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. He put in 9 weeks of work
For 6 months.
without working on any other projects. I don't buy it. I'm sorry.
Joe, do you feel like there's opportunity for ongoing negotiations on this?
I tried, and obviously, he reminded me that we're in a contract. So I tried to get it down, but it's
So at this point,
But what-
again, what you are telling us is if we don't pay this individual for their services, that we will be sued.
yes.
But does anybody here think that the guy put in 9 weeks full
I
time?
think we all feel the same
Well,
way.
I-
I feel like they're just raking.
I will
us over
say
the
that,
coals.
but these are professional services, and those guys don't want to get caught padding their hours.
They totally
It
padded the
seems like
hours.
well, I'm not saying that, but
I think it's a
um,
very dangerous thing to say.
it seems like a lot. But so the engineers, they do their thing.
This is
So
an individual that's still under contract with us, just as well.
I know. Perhaps we ought to table this
Public-
discussion until
And-
we're finished.
And realize when you say engineers, it's not just one engineer. There are multiple engineers with multiple hours. So you're,
It's a
you're,
firm.
yeah,
Yes,
so-
it's a whole firm. It's
so you're not, when you say
Well, when
9
all
weeks,
these
it's not
change orders
one
started
person.
coming around, and Joe was talking to me. I started thinking, okay, this is where this is going to land, or it'll be in court, and in court we're never going to prevail or come out saving money. That's the problem that I see.
I mean, okay, if it wasn't one guy full time for 9 weeks, it was 2 guys, 20 hours a week. I don't think a few rocks. It didn't take him longer to survey to engineer the rocks than it took the contractor to take them out.
I always rely on the subject matter experts. That's not my area of expertise, just like Charlie is the lawyer here. So when they come up with a set hours and what they need to do, we can second guess them by saying it's just a bunch of rocks. It's more than a bunch of rocks. It's more than that. So you want to get more detail from the engineer, because it's not just a bunch of rocks. There's a lot more structural side of it. They just don't arbitrarily say, oh, we're just going to throw rocks in there just because we don't like the way it looks. There's a reason behind it. So when the subject matter expert, the engineers say, this is what we need, we have to rely on the area. And then we got the CEI, who's overseeing the engineers, so they have second eyes looking on them. It's not us. We're totally out of this. It's an objective opinion. So I obviously feel your frustration, and you have your right to feel that way.
And you have excellent points, too,
Yes.
Christie. We don't disagree with your excellent points. It's just, we're just trying to recommend the best for the town.
It's not right. I don't feel it's right to saddle these good people with this extra bill that doesn't feel like it's anywhere close to reality.
Well, I mean, we all feel like it's not right, but if we decide to all not vote for it, and it's fine if you sit that out and it falls on us, but then what we're saying is it's okay for these good people to pay for litigation, potentially.
I mean, he increased he added 110,000 to a base price of 186. That's a huge markup for an extra month or two of work.
I don't know what they do in detail, how many people were at their firm working on it.
They were invited
I
to
just
this.
don't
They
like
were
the-
invited to address this body in March and April, and they didn't come.
I don't like the idea of making an accusation that something was padded or we were lied to or this or that on the dais on public record. I think that's a dangerous thing for us to do. Unless there's an opportunity for us to negotiate it that I'm not hearing. What we are all saying is, yes, we would be, and yes, we're all frustrated by it. But if we don't vote for this, then yes, we are voting to potentially engage this town in litigation.
And spend more money, whether we're frustrated or not, or agree with it or not.
That is the only other option.
And Joe has tried to negotiate it down, and if you don't know Mr. Joe Frugal here, he is gonna go at every ounce of effort to try to get it reduced. And you got the town attorney over there who's right behind him, he's not gonna second guess him either. He's not just gonna say it because it's his license too. So,
How did they justify an extra nine weeks of nonstop work for?
It's not just the rocks, it's all eight change orders, it's the utility issues, it's all those issues that they had to work on that were extraordinary, that were not budgeted for.
do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Amendment 1 in the amount of $110,495 to cover CEI services.
Do you have a second?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against?
Nay.
Show the record 4-1. Motion passes.
And can I say, Christie, I appreciate you taking the time to voice what you're hearing from the residents and making sure that, quite frankly, we're not being taken advantage of. It just sucks. Rock in a hard place.
Way to go.
Yeah. I mean, geez, Louisiana. But thank you.
And thank you, John. And I would have approved a smaller amount, by the way.
Okay. No new business and status reports. We'll have fire.
I'm sorry, we have C.
Oh, sorry. We have discussion on stop sign traffic study.
At the last meeting, council asked me to get a proposal from Simmons and White on how much it would be to look at our three-way stops. And he said it would approximately be $16,500. So I'm just bringing back the information for you guys to deliberate.
Joe, how much was the traffic study that we just had done last year or the year before?
About 18,000 and change.
And this is an additional, what was it? I saw
I think it's
16.
16.5.
17.
It's an estimate, but it's 16.5, he thinks.
Let's say 17, because we know
Yeah.
things can change. I don't agree with it either, Christie, but when it comes down to the cost of doing business, no offense, Charlie. It's just legal stuff is complicated, drawn out, and we don't come out a winner. But that being said, I see all the people with their signs out to say, slow down, this isn't a racetrack, kids playing here, all that kind of stuff. I think next year we get rid of some debt. I think we put a parameter on the traffic study through here and just keep the stop signs the way they are right now. I mean, they did tell us there's not a speeding problem, but some of the people feel differently, which I understand. But that being said, that's a lot of money right now. Well, that's what I'm saying. You could take that back. We just had one done. We just had one done, though.
I know.
And it didn't come up, it didn't even though he didn't put it in writing, he also said the roads are
John,
not
for
that bad.
appreciating
Just for the record, he did say that. So, and we're just spending $200,000 or $300,000 on paving, which is fine. We got to do it, but it's my feelings. I just think we need to look at it at a different time.
Let's take it up next year.
I concur. I think it's a wise decision at this point, especially after just going through all these change orders on top of the bridge, on top of the paving, and a lot of other budgetary items. I think this can wait. And thank you. Okay, now, no new business. Status reports, if Fire Rescue wants to go first. Please.
Council, thank you for having me. Fire Rescue 101 is coming up October 4th. Basically, a time where we get some of the dignitaries out there in gear, doing search, doing firefighter activities. I got 2 seats available. Initially, I mentioned it to my legislative team that I wanted to nominate Ms. Keating here, but they said she can teach the class, so they basically laughed at me. But I just want to let you know I do have 2 seats available.
Are any of you interested?
What is it?
If
I
it,
can't hear him very well.
it's-
You want to
it's-
explain a little bit what it is? I know what it is.
Yeah,
but I'll
you basically get in bunker gear. It is a tiring event. You'll be out there doing extrication. You'll be doing search and rescue, hose management. It's kind of a day in the seat of a firefighter, so we kind of do it. There's a few dignitaries out there every year.
And they walk you through it. They're
And
not
they
going
walk
to
you
let you.
through it.
They're not going to let you faint. They're not.
But
gonna let
again, I do have 2 seats. I thought I'd bring it up to you all. If you are interested, please let me know, and I'll make it happen.
Chief, when is it?
October 4th. It's a Saturday.
that would be good
Mr.
for you.
Lobello is invited. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, especially if
his son
he's got a new
he can work
firefighter
with
on
his
the
son,
department.
and maybe his son's out there. Just something to think about. I can get you the spots. You just let me know.
Where's it at, Palm Beach State?
It'll be at our facility, Palm Beach County headquarters,
Okay.
which is off Southern and the Turnpike.
Nice.
It's a fun event. It is labor intensive a little bit, but
It is.
you do get to see kind of what we do and what we're about. And
If you're not in shape, don't do
they
it.
will fit you for bunker gear if you are to give me the green light. Sometime this week I'll get you fitted for bunker gear. They'll give you your bunker gear. You'll go out there. I mean, you'll
Do
look
they
the
have
part.
defibrillators there?
We'll have
They have
paramedics on
one
site.
better. They even have a life pack and medics on scene.
But I think it's something that would be fun. And
It
Chief,
is.
I would totally do that if I was available that day. Can I have a rain check for next time?
yeah, and next year I'll bring it up again.
Yeah.
But I
do
do
it
have 2 seats. If you're interested, Mr. Maple, and I think Mr. Lobella are giving me the luck, maybe.
I just did the rappelling and the.
Sometimes they do. Again, it's all depending on they try to
Palm State
switch it up
College.
every year. Last year they did some extrication, which is cutting up vehicles using the tools, seeing how heavy they are.
When is the deadline for letting you know?
Like 3 days ago. No. Let me know at some point this week. I'll get you guys fitted for gear and I'll get you out there.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Traffic preemption's live. That's the thing that the lights change for us en route to the calls. Crews
That's
are
awesome.
seeing a big change in it. They are seeing it change. We'll start seeing this reflection in the upcoming turnout times and response times. It won't happen initially because, I mean, these stats are from August. It wasn't live yet. So little by little, we'll start seeing it. Crews are letting me know when when a light's not changing for them, and I'm noting it and sending it to the team so to make sure that
How does that, to curiosity, how does that work with the trains? Does it,
with the trains we stop.
right,
It won't do any change for trains, or if PD has manually controlled the light,
right.
they override it. They have control.
It's long overdue in Florida and especially South Florida.
Yeah,
I mean, the
we're
Northeast has had
guesstimating
it for a
10
long
seconds
time.
per light, so about a minute per call in response times, which is a huge difference when you think about it. I got to tour Los Angeles last month. I missed one of the meetings here because I was getting ready. I had a house emergency, and of course, Murphy's Law.
Of course.
I got to tour the Palisade fires over in Los Angeles. Got to experience LA traffic. We did learn a lot out there. A group of us went out, and we just kind of learned a little bit of what went right, what went wrong on those forest fires that were uncontrolled for about 10 days. So that's something Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, just so you know, we're always doing. They're always sending us to different locations to learn from others, right? Learn from others' key experiences. And we currently have our education team over in Croatia, in competing for Worlds. I'm not part of the team, but I am very proudful of them. It takes a lot of competitions, and you have to qualify for these world events, and they're over there right now. Don't know how they're doing. Hopefully next meeting I can tell you they won and they were champions, but just being there alone, it's kind
Just
of a
making
big
it
deal.
there's a feat. It's a lot of above and beyond extra work than what they normally do in their department, and it's a lot of extra training they don't get paid for and compensated for. So,
Correct.
and it's an honor just to be there from anywhere. But the
Yeah.
fact that your department has is phenomenal.
And then on turnout times, we ran 25 calls in the month of Lake Clark in the town of Lake Clark Shores. Our average turnout time was that of 49 seconds, which is great. And our response times was that at 8 minutes. It's about 15 seconds above what I'm used to seeing. But hopefully this traffic light preemption and bridge opening make a big difference. That's all we have from Fire Rescue.
Any questions? Okay.
Let me know about the gear.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief England.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In front of each of you and attached to the agenda packet for the public are the Chief's report for the statistics for the police department for last month. What you'll notice is it has a different format. One of the things that I started as a program under Chief Smith's direction when I first came in February was to go through the data that we are collecting and how we arrive at the numbers. Typically, most police departments will capture this through their computer-aided dispatch system where the officers put their information in, and we get that report out, and we formulate this information in reports that we use internally as far as how we deploy staff or how we deploy resources, how we report out to the community, like yourself, and how we compare as a deliverable to other municipalities. Unfortunately, we have some shortcomings and some challenges as far as our CAD, which is computer-aided dispatch, our records management system, and our mobile field reporting. We're working with Village of Palm Springs to do that. So the numbers we have here are rudimentary, but they're hand calculated. And I think that's important to understand that every single officer actually writes a hand report, adds numbers at the bottom, and then the corporals add those numbers up for their shift, and then the lieutenant adds that for the whole agency, and then we prepare that each month. Well, as you can imagine, anytime you put that much hand labor into something, there's inevitably going to be some kind of error, rounding error, calculating error, adding error, whatnot. So we're working through those challenges as part of that. The format is hopefully going to change over the next several months, that I can give you information that you can share with the community and that we can better use to deploy our assets and our resources. Having said that, the noteworthy section, if you notice, I left that blank. What I'm hoping to do is get some feedback from you as the elected officials for what information you're looking for. The statistical information is what we have been historically reporting to you. Obviously, the Marine unit information is something we've been doing over the last few months with public interest and interest from you. And code enforcement has always been an issue, so we're trying to calculate that or tabulate that so that you have things, again, that you can talk within the community too, and that we can compare to other municipalities as, again, a deliverable to the community. So I don't necessarily need guidance or direction today, but at some point over the next couple of weeks, if you could think things that you feel would be on a routine basis important to share with council and to the public, I'd be more than happy to include that. So the only thing that we're excluding, and we can certainly add it if you find value, we put notes that if someone dropped off cookies or a thank you card, if an officer goes to a routine training class or something like that, things I don't know if it really necessarily brings value in this forum. But anything you do have, please just send me an email or grab me one day at the police department. I'll be able to gain that information and work with Mr. Lobello and include that as routine information.
And it's on the website.
I understand there was a little minor issue on the bridge this past weekend. Just
There were some
little-
juveniles who were jumping off the bridge. The officers went out there, made contact with them and their parents, and turned them back over to their parents.
I saw them doing it by right when they were jumping.
Did you call us?
Was that?
Did you call us?
No.
Well, we were out there. Somebody called and we were out there.
Yeah.
Boys will be boys.
Yes, they will. But obviously, it's dangerous, so we went out there and made contact with parents also.
How's the training for the boat, Marine?
So the single engine training PBSO is putting on for us is next month, originally scheduled for September, now it's moved to October. But I spoke with the lieutenant over PBSO's Marine unit, and he's confident that it should be going in October. And we have 2 people that are here today that are going to be attending that class.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I know that's above and beyond what you normally do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And I'd also like to point out Officer Tui here, who's been the person carrying the most amount of water as far as going out onto the boat on the weekends. And
No
making a
pun
difference.
intended.
I'm trying to
Yes.
follow up on the
Of course.
on the hard plays. That was good, too.
Got to have that punchline.
So, but no, I did want to recognize him because he has been out there almost all the weekends that he's available, making a difference, making stops, and trying to educate the public.
Thank you. I can tell you that the residents definitely appreciate. I appreciate you because I'm on the lake, but I can tell you I get the calls from my neighbors as well. So, and I see it. It's long overdue. I know we're short-staffed, but we appreciate your doing the extra due diligence of being on the water, especially on the weekends. Thank you.
Your life must be easier now that the bridge is open and they're not flying down the canal.
There's
I've
a
been
lot
going
more
out
lake-
quite a bit, and
There's a lot more lake traffic.
well, yeah, well, that's, you know, you're allowed to go fast in the lake. You're not allowed to go fast in the canal. Yeah, so. Good. Thank you.
Also, it's not only just going fast. Sometimes they're going fast at each other, and that's unsafe. If they're just racing each other, it's a different story. I sometimes see them getting pretty close to the dock, so I'm hopefully it doesn't. We don't have any significant injuries because of it, because unfortunately I've seen many of them, and that's unforgiving when you hit that. So, I mean, we all love water sports. I grew up doing anything and everything on the water, so I get it and I appreciate it, but we have to do it safely. Okay, and I think that is to you.
Thank you. I know Emily wants to share a video, but I'll go over the first part of this. Our next meetings are October 14th, and then November 18th, which is the 3rd Tuesday, because we're not doing it on the 2nd Tuesday, because that's Veterans Day. So just want to make sure, let's put that on there on the staff report. It's the 3rd Tuesday.
Third Tuesday in November?
Yes, we always do the 3rd Tuesday because the 2nd always falls on Veterans Day. So we'll definitely do a better job of pointing that out on that it's the 3rd Tuesday. All right, then we have upcoming events. We'll just talk about them obviously when I get to that. Do you have that video ready? Okay, because I already talked about the bridge enough.
Is this the drone video?
Yeah,
This is-
Mayor, don't be spoiled. Yeah, don't.
It's just a drone video.
And we're gonna have this updated when we get the railings and the lighting in. But just wanted to show you this nice video that.
So wide that is.
Those 4 columns are where the lights are going in.
I'm having PTSD. You're giving me PTSD now.
Sorry. That was all done with an air balloon. I'm sorry. That was just drone. All right, so we'd like to go over the special events tonight, and there's nothing has to be decided on today, but want to go over dates first. Did anybody have any issue with any of these dates? We're going all the way to the barbecue, but we got the Monster Food Truck event, which is on the 24th, which is the Friday before Halloween. And then all these other events. Does anybody have any issues with any of these dates? You can tell me at another date, but we'd love you to all to be there. We're going to do the barbecue again in February, if that's okay with you all.
I think it's very okay. I mean, especially the weather and the time of year. Anybody?
Okay.
Joe, I'd like to get, and I know it's not on there right now for 2026, but I'll get with you, but let's get a date, since the bridge is now open, to put the fishing tournament back on.
Yes.
For the special events, please.
Yes, we will. So but that's in April, right?
Well,
Usually.
the barbecue is gonna be a little early, so I might do it early.
Okay.
We'll see what the weather is looking like and what everybody's thinking.
Let us know.
A lot of tournaments that time of year.
We're going to put these as tentative dates in the shoreline in October,
Yeah.
correct?
I'll get you something pretty
Okay.
quickly.
Okay.
Can we get that video on the webpage? Is it on the webpage, or is it too
It's
big?
ADA.
It's too large.
It's all, no, it's about ADA. Can't put videos
Oh,
and
okay.
pictures and stuff.
Okay.
Anybody wants that video, please email us. We'll send it to you. All right. So
It'll only cost $260,000.
Send it to me. I'm gonna send it to
Was it-
Christie every other day, just for a while, just to talk her off the bridge.
I'm gonna join those teenage boys jumping off the bridge.
All right. So after review, staff was not recommending having the holiday parade, which is on the same day as usually on the same Saturday as we have our the Tackett Memorial Christmas tree lighting. So we want to discuss that with you. Obviously, we put some reasons here. We have Lieutenant here has worked through.
What are your
many of
staffing
them.
limitations, Joe?
Go ahead.
So when Mr. Lobello first brought this about a staff meeting, we had talked about last year's event.
2 years.
I'm sorry, 2 years ago event, in the logistics and the challenges that were presented during that time. So I'm going to have the lieutenant here in a moment speak about that. So after we had our staff meeting, we went back to the police department. We spoke with Chief Smith, again, myself and the lieutenant, and we talked about what the actual logistical plan was for the event, who all was participating, the travel path of the event, and then where it ultimately ended. We talked about the lessons that we learned from then. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the lieutenant to speak as far as those things that we had discussed and the concerns that we have, and then I'll talk about the overall concern, which staffing is one of them.
Hi.
You're good.
Is
We
it
can-
okay?
We hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I never know. So in regards to the parade, my past experiences, it's been a safety issue, and each year it's kind of grown. You have the e-bikes, golf carts, and remember, you can close the streets to keep people out of the town, but you still have the residents that are within the town, and we have had many instances where vehicles that are already coming out of their streets, forgetting that they can't leave, and they'll be head on with the parade. And we've had to direct them other ways, but that has happened multiple times in the parades that I've participated in. It's just overall, it generally is a safety issue and growing.
So in trying to plan an event, one of the concerns I have, I'll say as a chief of police, is the safety of the event. When you have a whole lot of vehicles and different types of vehicles traveling at slow speeds, it takes a lot of staff and a lot of resources to block a lot of roadway, not only just for staging, but the path that it takes. Most municipalities that have some sort of Christmas event where they have a parade, if you will, they have some sort of downtown area where they can block off traffic that doesn't affect major arteries of the roadway or residential areas. To try and to accommodate something through our municipality not having a business area, we would have to block many, many roads throughout the travel path. Now, you see 5 of the 7 police officers we have here today. My concern would be to try and block all the individual roads before the parade starts, during the parade, and then try and leapfrog people around from the back of the parade to the front of the parade. Logistically, extremely difficult. The other concern I also have, not as far as staffing, but I also understood the last parade we did cross Forest Hill Boulevard and have a path up Forest Hill. That is a 6-lane divided highway with raised curbs. That in and itself would probably take all of our staff to properly and safely do that. And to hold up traffic for a significant period of time for all the different types of vehicles. Again, people walking, bicycles, e-bikes, golf carts, and vehicles. It would take a long time to do. So I don't see us having the geographical area to really accommodate that type of event safely.
This is not the golf cart parade. This is something separate.
Classic cars. In the
Yeah.
past,
Right.
it's been classic cars.
Right.
Yeah, this is a town event. That's a good question, Mayor. The non-town sponsored event, which is the golf cart and the boat parade, are still grandfathered in, so they can do whatever they please. But this is the town event.
And this is generally not our residents. These are, majority of them are from outside.
The majority of the people that are participating in the as a car club that are not residents. We do obviously have. I mean, it's a nice event. I'm not saying it's not.
No.
It's just a safety concern. But we usually have elected officials and police cars in it and utility vehicles in it. So it's. I did ask if we just took off the Forest Hill Boulevard route, but they still don't think it's safe.
I mean, the 2 years ago, my little guy was like 2.5, and we had like multiple cars coming down Westlake that weren't part of the parade. Groups of kids that were sitting in the street, but they came from the house right behind ours. Like there was no way to really, unless you have an officer on like every street, stop the cars from pulling in and out. And they just didn't remember. Luckily, nothing happened that time. I always feel it's smart choice to listen to our police force if they're telling us there's a serious safety concern, which I believe you are here, that we should listen to those concerns and heavily take them into consideration.
What are you thinking about the tree lighting?
The tree lighting it's just a venue question. Do you want?
Well, I understand, but that's a dangerous area to have it in too. If we're worried about safety, that's not the best area to have it in. Maybe you could coincide some of the antique cars. Those guys would be happy about that because their cars are breaking down in that parade all the time. They go too slow, and there's a lot of separation in there.
Yes.
So that's just food for thought. Why don't you get us an analysis on that so we can sell that to moving that over here to Town Hall Park? I thought it actually went better myself.
I would.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, Mayor.
It's okay. I'd just like to finish this issue, and then we're gonna touch the tree.
Okay.
And so on the issue of the parade, I know that's always been, I remember all the kids standing out for the candy and, all the good things that happen there, and safety is obviously number one. Chief, is it possible to limit that maybe just down to the water and back to Town Hall or something like that? Or is that too much to ask? Maybe not a full, thorough way, but just, I don't know, what boat to the boat ramp from here to the boat ramp. What road is we on there?
Barbados?
Barbados.
We just.
So just so you understand how we do the planning of it, to sort of give some shed some light on it. First, we look at the venue as far as the travel path that you're taking. How many roads are there? How many cross intersections are there? How many people do you need to block all of those, whether it's human staff or barricades or a combination of both? Then you look at where you're staging the event to start. So if you're going to have 20, 30 cars plus, 10 golf carts plus this plus that, you need to have a stretch of area large enough to accommodate all those before you even start the event. Then obviously once you roll the event, whether you're leapfrogging officers with bikes or motorcycles or whatnot, or fixed positions, you have to have somewhere for them to end and stack there. So much like the former mayor was saying, venue is important, space is important, where you park cars are important. It's tough, especially on non-conforming roads without sidewalks and whatnot. We always have conflicts with. So, physically possible. It's physically possible to do it. Is there a danger to it? Yes, there is a concern of safety to that. Who all's in it? Who the benefit goes to? Is the juice worth the squeeze, so to say?
Right.
You have to take all those things into consideration, and then you make at least I make a public safety event. Now, I don't like sitting up here and saying I don't want Santa to come. I mean, I had the opportunity to lead a couple parades and drove a fire truck in more than one. but I just don't see an area that is conducive for doing a significant type of or size event. That's my concern.
And I love that. And just thinking, is it possible potentially to extend, meaning not a parade per se, but maybe our antique cars go all the way down Barbados to the water? And I'm just, bear with me here, I'm coming off the cuff a little bit, but trying to make sure. So maybe this event now, you walk down all the way to the water, you can see the different cars, you can get candy from the different guys, and the kids still have some feel of that whole thing. And I'm just thinking off the cuff, and maybe that's just not doable, period. But, give us more space, maybe potentially get more cars involved in that thing, because there's, that whole drive that maybe they can come and kids can walk down that, see the cars, get to the water, get some candy along the way. I don't know. I'm just thinking, so I know the kids hate to take away that Christmas deal from them, and I'm a big Christmas guy myself, so I want to make sure we're still all in on that deal. But what are your thoughts, Chief?
So the events that we looked at moving events. I think what you're describing is more of a static event.
Yeah.
If you were to, much like the barbecue, to block off Barbados at Florida Mango, and then Barbados, past the town hall, other than disrupting the residents in the area, you could do something like that. And then it would be a matter of, who all do you bring, what types of vehicles, golf carts, Santa, something like that. How does that compete against other static events that we're doing in the season? It may be similar to a tree lighting if we do the tree lighting here, which would be my recommendation, because you do have significant parking areas, and you have restrooms, and you have electrical, and you're close to the town hall with the kitchen and the storage and whatnot, not to jump ahead, but you have those logistical facilities and whatnot in a close proximity to what otherwise you would need if you had a whole lot of people gathering in one area.
I don't see why we couldn't potentially do that portion of it during the day, open everything back up so everyone can get to who hasn't, who weren't at the town hall during the day to see the cars, they can come that evening to see the tree lighting if we open that road back up and, get some of those cars back out of there. But it gives people the opportunity to walk a little bit, experience the town in a different capacity, and then maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, obviously there's a lot of us up here, so they'll make that decision, but just something that still gives us that Christmas feel, but also during the day we still have something going on as typical, maybe not as elaborate, but there's still opportunities. So I don't know, just my thoughts, guys.
I think I've always loved that event, and to me, it's one of the things that makes Lake Clark Shores, just a small hometown community. I go out and stand in my front yard and watch it every year, and kids all around are jumping out and grabbing candy, and I just think it creates a nice atmosphere. Is there a way to make it work if it just goes around the lake and doesn't cross Forest Hill?
A lot of the logistical concerns are still there.
Yeah.
What concerns? I'm sorry.
Logistical concerns. Again, you have the staffing, the blocking.
I'm sorry, I can't hear him. What?
You have the staffing,
the
blocking
staffing,
of the road.
staffing, he's saying staffing issues.
Staffing issue, blocking of the roads, the equipment, and the length of it. The lake's about
how
a
did we
mile.
pull it off for decades and decades prior to this?
We've been lucky, and you haven't been on the backside of all the issues that we've had.
Who's that person?
Who are you? Who are you?
Excuse me.
Who are you?
Excuse me. Identify yourself, sir.
Retired.
Identify.
Yeah, what's your address, please? I don't think it's Lake Clark Shores.
Take him out of here.
Just to let you know, we've had arrests residents for obstructing the officers because people go to work and they get upset, and then you have people that have issues and they don't like to follow directions. So over the years, we've had issues, disturbances, and we have arrested people. These are things behind the scene in logistics on what's going on. We have to get with the sheriff's department, the fusion center. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes that the general public would not know about. But it's a big liability. And we've had people, one year we had a young girl fall off a float and get injured, and we had some people hit by a car. So there's a lot of things that have happened over the past years. But it's a big liability. You're just rolling the dice. So, but you got to remember, when you see these parades these other cities have, they're in a commercial area. you know, you got 800-900 people. A lot of people go to work on Saturday. They got plans for families and kids and those type of things. And people get upset because of the aggravation with the traffic and the parade. Not everybody likes that. So, and that's my take on it for 26 years.
Thank you, Chief.
So these are all the things that we take into consideration when we make a recommendation to council.
Do we want to look at this further, maybe at another meeting, next meeting, about possibly a static event, or do we want to just forego it?
I mean, I'm not going to throw a wrinkle in the plan here, but I mean, if you guys are open to that, then great. If not, okay. I'm not going to, cry about it. But I just, it's what I've always done since I've been in this town is that parade. And so I don't know if you guys are okay with saying, hey, we're not going to do it, and security police says, hey, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. That's
Joe, do we have time to look at alternatives before the October 8th meeting?
Yes, it was actually our plan that to do
And
something.
in that way, it kind of gives us some time to think, because I agree with John. It's one of the good things around here that happens. The kids look forward to it for sure. I'm just looking at here. It was the 8th, right? Yeah.
13th.
Well, that's just to make sure you have enough time to plan, or let's give us some time to come up with a few alternatives and ideas, because we don't want to be given recommendations with the way things are today, and then the wheels fall off, and they recommended we don't do it, and we do it. That's a problem.
Yes.
So maybe give us a little bit of time to the next meeting and come up with some
Of course.
alternatives and figure out what we can
And,
work out.
and staff will brainstorm too, because that's what we were going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep adding to the event. We had the beautiful ladder truck. Thank you, Chief, bringing us a ladder truck with Santa Claus. And then we were giving out candy with Santa Claus. That was new, and we'll keep expanding the event. But your input is valued. So anything you can think of, please let us know.
No, I like the static idea, because I hear that people want the event, but I also understand the safety concerns and the logistics of law enforcement and blocking off streets and Forest Hill. I think the safety of the issue is prudent for us to look at that. So I say we look at alternative ideas and have the event, but have it in a static form, so we minimize and eliminate the staffing issues as well as the possible safety concerns. So we want to agenda that next month?
Yeah. We'll keep talking about it.
Okay. Do you have other?
Yeah, obviously the other one was the venue, the location. I heard some discussion on that, and obviously logistically it's easier for us to put it on here, but obviously there's a safety concern about having it on Forest Hill.
I will jump in and say, from a parent's point of view, with a 4-year-old, that Forest Hill is terrifying. And I think there's so much more for the kids to do here, and I thought it was lovely and so fun for the kids. And if it's easier on staff, and if our police force says it's the safer option, I don't see why we would. I still like having the big tree, but I don't think the event should take place there.
We agree. Is everybody okay with that?
I love I don't come from a parent's perspective, so I do value that very much. I think it's a shame that we don't enjoy the beautiful lake, which is, our centerpiece. But I understand what everybody's saying.
we get that master plan done, we might be able to go back to that.
Yes.
Exactly.
But just a side note, can we move the honorary rock or
Yeah, we've
thing
got.
to the location of the Christmas
We're,
so we can make sure we honor that family?
it's on our weekly
Make
discussion.
sure it has safe GFI thingy.
We're-
Yeah,
whatever to the kids' name. I don't know about electric.
We're looking into that, John.
Okay, great, thank you.
Greg, do you have any, and you started to talk about it earlier, about your position on the
What's
the
that?
placement, the venue?
Yeah, no, I think I just heard loud and clear, this would be the recommendation. for
This
the
facility here
tree
would be a
lighting event to be
beautiful
held at
facility,
Town Hall.
logistically speaking, yes.
So, yeah, I think it went over very well. And there's things, things can be done, things can be changed, we can put things in different locations. So I think from a safety perspective, this is the better place.
It is.
Yes.
And I hear everybody's concern. That sounds like that's where everybody wants it. I understand both sides. I have a little perspective from Christie's. I like the event over there at Pine Tree because it kind of it.
The scenery's beautiful.
Yes. However, I understand the safety concerns and being more isolated here, and law enforcement's got a lot more control. We have the facilities; it's easier for the staff. But I definitely, hopefully, in the future, when we do get the parks up and running, that we'll have that buffer with Forest Hill. We'll have all that landscaping and dense forestry that we can have it done much more safely. Obviously, that's many years down the road. But also, Joe mentioned to me, also, that doesn't take away from the tree. The big tree will still be in the park.
Memorial Park.
But we'll still have the smaller tree here and the event here.
And
Christmas
the
tree.
menorah. The menorah will be at Memorial Park too, that large menorah. So, and we're gonna have Hanukkah celebration right here too. The rabbis all booked and everything. We'll have it here. They loved it here inside last year. There's a lot of other minor things, Mayor, but the last thing is I have to just announce this by Florida statute that, we are going to auction off the older police radios for surplus, and we'll see what we get for them. So just have to announce that we're going to maybe some other equipment, but mainly the radios we're going to auction off.
Okay,
That's it. Thank you.
thank you. And Charlie?
My report is included at the end of your agenda packet. It was a busier several weeks than normal. There were a number of contracts that needed to be reviewed. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
So you have some change orders for us?
No, I do not. No change order.
Okay. Any other council comments?
Yeah.
Council comments or question for Charlie?
You could have questions for Charlie first.
Okay, I don't. I'm just making sure we're on the same page. I got to keep my thoughts straight here.
Okay.
Now,
Now.
You have comments, sir.
All right, good. That's what I thought we were at, but I just thought we were, council comments. Thank you, Mayor. First, Chief, thank you for your insight. I just was thinking off the cuff, maybe on that noteworthy section, your challenges that you guys are facing and some of your wins would be helpful just to kind of understand where we're winning and making sure the residents know that. I think most people keep track of wins and losses, so it'd be helpful to know how we're doing there. And obviously appreciate, the work you're doing to bring more information to bear. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then went to footprints. When did we do the footprints?
Last month.
Last month. Man, when legal aid came in and taught us about ladybird deeds. I looked that one up. So they did a great job. And so if you got a house, you need to put it somewhere in a trust. Legal aid can help protect you from that perspective.
For free. They got a grant.
Did I mention for free?
For free. They
For
got a
free.
grant.
So
They will help you with legal advice for free, especially on your wills and your estate issues concerning your property. If I didn't, you don't mind, John, if I interrupted you.
No, yeah. So yeah, that's helpful from a planning standpoint. So anybody who needs that, call them. They've got some money and they're willing to help. Hey, I was just thinking. I saw your video. Was thinking, man, that bridge from that area view really looks incredible. Now imagine if we had our master plan and our parks all done, and Pine Tree fully paved, and people walk into our town and boom, as they roll through, this is what they experience. I mean, it would be incredible. You probably couldn't buy a house in here if you overpaid by a lot. People just wouldn't sell. So I mean, the future in Lake Clark Shores is extraordinarily bright, and I think Officer said it earlier that this is a good town. People like being here, and I think it's only going to continue to get better. So again, thank you for coming up and sharing, Officer, with us the perspective of the men and women sitting with you there, and we value you guys. I want you to know that. And thank you to this council. It's been truly a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Joe, Charlie, this is for you. Joe, we've had this conversation, but I wanted to introduce to the council that I'd like to do a charter review for the charter for the town of Lake Clark Shores. It's been some time. I know since I've been up here, there hasn't been one.
Decades.
And a lot of things changing. We need to review, revise, and get things up to speed. So tell us and teach us what that's going to look like.
Well, I think the best thing I would recommend is put it on the agenda because there is options. Just to give you a few, you can have, you guys could be the people that review it. You can hire a committee to do it of residents. You can do, I've actually seen professionals like just town managers and attorneys be on it. But since it hasn't been changed for so long, I think I already have my opinion. But
Well, I think you definitely need the attorney's input.
100%. You always
Without a
have to
doubt.
have the town attorney. Charlie would be immensely invaluable, so he would definitely be on any committee. But I think my recommendation, because I've talked to you about this, would be for you guys to do it because it hasn't been done so long.
How long? I
It's
know
not that
it's been a long
long.
time, but how long of a process?
It's not that big of a charter.
No,
It's not. I've looked at it. It's not big, but there's a lot to discuss if you've read it.
yes, and you should have a charter review every so many years, and it's been a while. In fact, I can't even remember when we did it
No,
last, but we did do it.
I think it was the 80s.
It was pre-me,
It was,
Yeah.
so
it's actually in a lot of charters to review it every 5 years.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I think it's well overdue. So thank you for bringing it up.
We'll put it on the agenda and
I'll
let's
put it on the agenda.
get it out and let's talk about it.
Okay.
All right, the next thing, talking about asbestos in the pipes, who all knows what the procedure is for removing asbestos in our seawalls that we have around here? So this is the drill, and this is gonna lead into something for code enforcement, to get him out with these gentlemen on the boat and start looking at some of these things. And they need to know that in some cases, this actually is a public service. We're not trying to harass them. If you have an asbestos seawall and it falls into the water, that's on the homeowner to clean that up. And that is a minimum, from what I was told, $250,000 or something like that for a cleanup for that seawall, even if one piece falls in. You've seen them, how they're cracked. Dana, I know you've been out there. I know you guys have seen them. So that's something we should be bringing to light to those residents that have that. I don't know that they are. I don't know that they are not. But it would be helpful to them because how many times you hear them like, I didn't know that. Well, that's helpful information. So, and there's quite a few of them around that really are in really, really bad condition. So, and I'm sure you guys have seen them. We've talked about this before. So that's something that we could do to help the residents out there, just to bring it to their attention. Hey, your seawall is in disrepair. There's a possibility that there's asbestos. You need to know. There's only one way to know, I guess. Find out when it falls into the water and they send you a $200,000 bill to clean it up. So,
Is there a process for mitigating
well, what
it?
they do now, if it's not falling in, they just go over it.
Okay.
They leave it there, but they fill it, they backfill it, they put it in, and they put the new construction type in there. You can use wood, you can use metal, you can do a
As long as
variety
it's
of
buried,
things.
it's not a danger. It doesn't have that dust.
got
So
it. Yeah.
It's all about that dust on asbestos.
Exactly. So, I've been hearing more and more people talk about dilapidated cars in the driveways. When they back in, I don't know what we can do. I know there's an ordinance that they have to be registered, and possibly that's why they do this. But just, let Eric be on the lookout for that. Those are things I've been hearing some chatter out there about that too. And they're around. You just drive around, you'll see them. A couple of them have remove your vehicle signs on them from wherever they made them move them before. And we have had that problem over on Kimbo Diana at one point in time too, which took a big thing to do. And then in that same vein, there are a couple of homes that are in really, really bad condition. Now, I've looked some of these places up on the property appraiser's office to see actually who's in charge of them. There's one over there by me that, they're knocking on my door. I ride by them on my boat. I don't want to call it harassing. I understand. I feel the same way. I was telling Joe earlier, there's one of the ladies on my street, one of the nicest ladies ever, and she's frustrated. The screening on the enclosure is gone. The vines are just growing up on it, over it. The back is just out of control. It's a rodent. it's an iguana, it's a snake, whatever you want to call it, hazard to all of the houses around him, which are all in good repair. So they were cited, as Joe said, but somewhere along that line, as we transition, I would like to have these reports on where we stand on that so that when I'm asked, I have some information for them. All I say right now is it's been cited. Well, it's been like that for a couple of years. So, Charlie, this is my question to you regarding that is, would we find ourselves in the same boat that we did with Barbie? We spun our wheels for years and years and years on that property. We had whatever it was over $200,000 in liens. We had to walk away with 60, and then everybody had to look at that for all those years. Is that kind of what we're faced with, or was he because he was ADA?
It was because when we pursued action against him, he was represented by the Legal Aid Society, and they created an issue pertaining to the ADA and our requirement to make special accommodations for Mr. Barbie. Now, it still could have been handled more expeditiously than it was, but the town kind of backed off because of the threats from the Legal Aid Society. I don't see that as the case on these other properties.
And I remember that vividly. That's why I'm asking, because
We actually litigated the Barbie matter.
Yeah. But we still ended up with only 60 grand after Dana and whoever else was in there. There was a gentleman even before her that was code enforcement that went to the sheriff's department as well. So just when I'm talking to these folks that are contacting me about this, because they're very frustrated with this property. And I've actually had them tell me, listen, we'll go over and cut the grass. I said, no, don't do that. It's private property. Don't get involved in that. Let the wheels just keep moving and going around. But it is, and Joe and I had this discussion. First of all, that's a safety issue. There's no fencing, and there's no screening, and there's a pool. Lord only knows what that pool looks like. And she just recently, we're concerned. I mean, we go over there, we've tried to help her, and I don't think that's the case anymore, Joe. I think what's happened, because I looked it up and it's in a trust, and this is what happens around here too. You talk about the people that come here and they stay here, they stay. We love it here. The people who love this place love it, and we stay. I'm one of them. I plan on staying till the bitter end. So she had, up until this point, every hurricane shutter on. The only door that was workable, we don't even know that it was workable, was the garage. And we did find out it was, because when she would go to bed and leave it open, it was a maze to get in. It's another Barbie thing. So let's.
Very familiar.
Yes.
I would ask that you or any member of the public to feel free to call me any day and give me an address, and we can send code by there. We do have specific issues that we look at routinely. Like 1 month we will look at cars, 1 month we'll look at this,
Right.
dirty driveways, dirty roofs or whatnot. I know we looked at cars about a month ago, especially right after council passed the parking on the unimproved ground. So, but no one should need to wait till a council meeting. Feel free, the public, to please give me a call, and we can look at it any day of the week.
Okay, because when we go to some of these meetings and we're there and we talk about rebranding Lake Clark Shores and implementing our CRA and getting and looking for change along Forest Hill Boulevard to upgrade, which I know a lot of your calls come from, the rentals and stuff like that, changing the face of that, it's hard if the aesthetics don't play together. You know you see what I'm saying?
It is very important, and it is a safety concern.
Yeah.
And I would encourage the public to call us and let us know.
And I understand everybody has their situations, and heaven forbid did I ever find myself in that one. You just
we
you
work
never
with
know, but
we
still.
work with the public. We give extra time when appropriate.
Yeah.
We help them when it's appropriate, depending on their
Okay, good.
situation. We are looking for voluntary compliance, but it starts either with our code officer finding it or someone calling and reporting it to us, and then we can go look at it.
Well, they had somebody cut the grass, but it only did the front. They stopped right at the front and left everything else. So keep me posted on that. Thank you. I'm finished. Yes.
To that point, Greg, West Palm Beach has a requirement. They give you a notice if you haven't cut the lawn, and they say you have until X date to do it, or we will come and do it and then bill you for it or put
Well,
a lien.
we've done that
So
with the
do
property
we
on
have that-
Pine Tree.
Do we have the ability to do that?
Yes.
We do have the ability to do that. It's part of our
It's a
code of
nuisance.
ordinances. and it becomes a tax assessment on the property.
But
That's why I asked that question. Are we going to be stuck holding the bill?
Yeah, no,
Because I got to give these folks some answers.
it wouldn't be for screening the patio or anything like that. It would just be.
It's typically just mowing the
Mowing the
yard
grass,
and
Yep.
These are much bigger.
These are bigger
problems,
issues,
so,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Just-
Safety issues.
the screen enclosure around the pool is a major safety hazard
Yeah.
for anybody.
Yeah. So,
Dana's looking for a record.
okay. Well,
I-
yes.
I just want to remind you that remember that the residents can come to the code board meeting and speak on the specific case. So if this one that you're speaking of, which I'm pretty familiar with, is on the agenda, these people are allowed to come and voice their concerns or, nuisances that they're having to see to the code board to help them.
They'd rather get me, their public official.
Well, you are welcome at the code board as well. Just, some people forget that you're allowed to come and speak on the properties on the agenda.
Well, before, you remember, Dana, there used to be able to call in anonymously.
Correct.
Some
And
people
Not anymore.
don't want that. And I tell them, I say, listen, you have to call in and go on the record. And I don't have a problem with that. If there's a problem, because my wife already said, well, tell them I'm going on the record. I want something done. So, that being said, I think that we had talked about possibly having an area in the website somewhere where this information exists as well.
We're working on that.
Yes. Well, that's what I've been telling them, and they keep saying, Greg, you keep saying that. So
you can always refer them to me. I'm more than happy
I've
to
got
help.
your
You
phone
know
number on
that.
speed dial, kiddo.
You know.
I'm gonna tell 'em.
The Lake Clark,
Pardon me?
make sure you give out the correct one.
Yes.
The Lake
Yes.
Clark one. My email, I'll always help. You know that. I'll always
you're
explain
very
things to
helpful, I
people.
know.
We can figure it
I'm
out.
just putting this out there since we are in transition around here, so it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I'm not upset. It's just something's got to give.
Yes, and we have been working due diligently with getting code enforcement on the water as well. And I have already spoken to him about a few things that I used to address on the water and seawalls.
You want to hear a little funny thing about that? As I was researching it and looking it up, you know what they paid for that house when they came in? $43,000.
Wow.
It was before the new tax stuff went out. It was property value was $801,000. Almost fell over. And the sad part about that is if they played their cards right, they could get that because they're buying those houses and tearing them down for $1 million and putting up what they want and bringing them up to code, because that's the hard thing about buying a place in here is that the codes have changed so much. It's monumental to make a big change, but that's what's happening. So I hope that if I ever accomplish that, I'm with mine to say, give me the money, I got to go.
Well, you have a beautiful house.
Yeah,
Yes, he
but I
does.
love Lake
Very
Clark
well
Shores,
kept.
so I don't see
Yes.
me going anywhere.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I was on the code board, former Mayor Shalhoub came several times to speak to us and thank us, but also to speak specifically about situations. So just thought I'd mention that, Mayor Keating.
Thank you. So noted.
I tell all of my friends that I feel like I live in the safest, and I do say ungated, but the safest ungated community in Palm Beach County, and I know that we have you all to thank for that. And Officer Dominguez, I sincerely appreciate you and your fellow officers being here this evening, staying to the end, and letting us hear what's going on for you guys. And we take it seriously into consideration as we move forward with this process. But I want to let you all know how important you are to this town.
I re-echo those same sentiments that I voiced earlier about our wonderful police force. And I want to congratulate staff and those of us on the dais here for rolling back the millage rate for several years in a row now.
As always, I know I have a background in public safety, so I do thank you and do appreciate what you guys do. And we will look in the future to try to have a fair contract, not only for you, but and keep you, that you have a decent salary, a decent pension, and that you're safe out there, but also that we're fair to the residents as well, because we all do pay for it, but you have to put your money where your mouth is. So we look forward to working with you in the future to come up with something that will work for all of us. And with that said, I have a few things that I'd like to see if we could agenda for the next meeting. I'd like to explore having is it the engineer come back for the phase 3, 4, and 5 for the septic. See what how much we've gotten accomplished and what we need to, what it would cost to complete that, just to have an idea. We don't have to, it's just a number, so if it's a lot, then we won't, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get here, but we already know what shovel-ready is. So if we should get the funding that our lobbyists came here and all the grants associated with it, if we had the ability to move forward, and we want to move forward, we're not saying that we are, we have a shovel-ready plan. If we don't have that shovel-ready plan, and there's a lot to go with that, we'll get passed over. So it's not saying we're doing anything with septic and sewer, it's just to see what it would cost to get that next phase. We already got the, Michael West is done, shovel-ready, and we can get funding for it. And as, we might even get it for nothing. Don't know that, but that was the proposal from our lobbyist. So I would like to see if we can get him to come back just to give us numbers to see how far along we are, and if there's something that we want to pursue. And we don't have to pursue it, but I'd like to see we stop the process because of the contention. So again, we're not saying that we're going to move forward with this. I just want to get a number so we can give the numbers to the residents to say it's going to cost X amount, and we can get funding. We can get 50%, 80%, or all of it. But we don't even know what that number is. So all I'm asking is that we entertain the engineer come back to see where we take us.
Is that a consensus? May I ask,
I just
Mayor?
want to clarify one piece of all
Yeah, yeah.
those comments. We stopped the process because we, as a council, decided that there was a different priority, and that was the cleanup, and that's what we asked for in appropriations. And I just want to
Right.
clarify that for the record.
Yes.
And
And-
I'm happy to have a presentation on the numbers. if
Right,
what
that's all we're
you're
looking at.
asking for.
We're not asking to move forward, just to see where we're at. And we also know that from Penske, and from Jason, the DEP, that one doesn't come out without the other. They're not gonna get, the funds for lake cleanup is not gonna come, but we're not even talking about whether we're
Yeah,
gonna do it.
Like I said, from my seat,
Right.
I would be happy to hear the presentation on the
That's all I'm asking.
Will he charge us to come out for that?
And what does that cost?
Oh, Christy, you're so cute.
It's an hourly charge, whatever the hourly fee.
Okay, well, could we?
Is it valuable information? Because we're not going to move ahead with phase 3 until we have phase 2 underway. And we're not going to get phase 2 done until we get some funding from the government.
Man, I think it's very valuable because just like we discovered just 2 months ago that there's $38 million left for Milton, if something happens like that, we can't submit phases 3 to 4 and 5 because it's not shovel ready. So I think if you should have all these things shovel ready just in case something happens. And I heard we're very close to being complete, so why don't we just finish the job? It's only if
How long have we been shovel ready for phase 2 and not had any money come our way?
that's 3,
Been a
4
while.
years. 5 years, I don't know. Before my time.
My perspective on that is if you have that, and that hasn't cost the taxpayers a penny
It's
for any of that,
It's utility funds.
for any of that
Utilities.
permitting, for the planning, the design, none of that. If you have that plan and you have it up on a shelf, and let's just say the money came available and they said, guess what, Lake Clark Shores, we're gonna come in there and we're gonna pay for everything. And we're not shovel ready, guess what?
Next.
Thanks for stopping, we're moving on to the people who are. That's a reality. I really don't think they'll pay for it all, but you just never know. I'm a positive thinker, right, Chief? Smith, yes.
Which chief?
Yeah. There's 3 chiefs
So
over there.
the perspective there is to wherever you're at, you can bring the engineers back in and let them talk all they want. But until you've got everything planned, permitted, and designed, they can't give you a number. That's been one of the things. People are projecting all of these numbers.
First question you get.
And it's like, where do you come up with these numbers? How are you getting that?
Okay,
you
if a
can't.
plan is on the shelf, shovel-ready, and doesn't get pulled off the shelf for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, that plan would presumably need updating, or has it gone stale, or is it good?
No, I mean, it's
It's a very good question.
infrastructure.
It matters on the project. Usually they do need some updating, but not on water. Water and sewer is very boring. It's pipes.
Yeah, you're putting pipes in the ground.
It's lift stations.
Your costs are
or
gonna
it's-
go up, which they have.
Or vacuum system. It's so usually not too much. So I would recommend you do it. And I remember that it's not much left. Again, I've never been involved with it because it was predated me, but let's get a presentation from the engineer and see how much is left. Can't hurt. Is that okay? Is that a consensus?
And this money is coming from
Utilities fund.
utility fund for the engineer.
Right. And
just to be clear, the town's tax dollars aren't going into the utility fund
That's
in any
correct.
capacity.
No.
User-driven.
Right.
People who use utility are paying for it.
So
That's correct.
money that we have in the utility fund are what's being used to fund this engineer coming to make a presentation on costs and different things of that nature.
Yes.
Now, if I remember correctly, on my short time here, that we've had similar presentations in the past and known costs, but weren't able to move forward and execute on anything because we didn't know what we would get in the way of grants and money from Tallahassee.
Correct.
Is that also correct?
Yes.
So we could essentially find ourselves knowing what it's going to cost, but not really sure how we're going to pay for it.
It's not what it's going to get cost per se. That's a component, but it does, as everyone said, it does change on a yearly basis. It's to have it just shovel ready, just in case. We talked to Mrs. Frankel, Congresswoman Frankel, Lois. I know her by Lois, but she was the mayor. But I talked to Trevor and on our staff, and I always bring this up. If something comes up, you have to be shovel ready, or they just ignore you. So if we're that close, I'd like to hear from the engineer because we shut it down. How close are we to finish the project?
So
and finish it if it's that
to become shovel ready, that money is coming from the utility fund.
Yes.
Is that correct?
It's all it has. And
So
I believe you got a grant for the first phase. I think you got a grant for
We did.
engineering. So it's a lot of money. I think it was like $3 million or something to that nature that you actually paid for the design of the other phases. But phase 1 has been completed, but it was paid for by a grant. Some of the money. Obviously, I wasn't here, so I can't speak.
Right, but I just want to be clear. To get shovel ready, that money is coming from the utility fund to get shovel ready.
100%.
All of that money. It's not
100%.
coming from the town or residents, and
It's
that's
not coming from ad valorem or the general fund. Correct.
okay. So that does not affect our millage rate. That does not.
No.
Just to be
But
clear.
money in the utility fund that's left over can get transferred into the general fund.
That's correct.
Correct. And the other thought I was
Goes
thinking
that way.
too is that if any staff time are being used towards this project, it is technically costing residents something. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is a fair assessment?
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Is that a consensus? Bring the person up for an update. I just need 3 of you to say yes.
You want that in a motion, or do you want to
I-
put it
I
on
don't-
an
I don't-
agenda item?
I don't need a motion. I just
Just
this
need a
is
consensus.
that's the practice. If somebody brings something that you get 3 people to say yes, it's a good idea to put it on the agenda.
I'll say yes, put it on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm one. Aye.
I'm 2.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I already said
Okay.
there's no harm in hearing.
Okay, we're good.
the
Thank you.
Numbers.
Right.
Got 3. Thank you.
Information's information. There's
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a presentation, and if that's all it is, it's a presentation.
I've got it. Thank you.
I think somebody else might enjoy this. Could we look at, I'd like to see if we can have staff look into cost analysis to go digital on our agendas, our packets, rather than have to print this every month.
I mean, this right here?
Yes.
Oh,
Is
I
that
love.
an agenda item, or can we like?
Oh No, no, I need the paper. I need
You,
the paper because
you have the power to do whatever you want. If you make a motion, that could be second.
I need the paper because I underline it. My whole thing is underlined in notes on all of it.
You can always make copies. I mean, you always can print it if you like, but I think be a significant cost in savings. I've talked to several other municipalities, and they're
It's already digital because I get it emailed to me and I have it electronically.
but we print these every week.
All the backup information. And
So it's just a matter of whether you want the digital or the printed.
Okay, and well, second, there's multiple ways of doing that. You could have a tablet. You could not have a tablet. You could opt in or opt out of it. Palm Springs actually has computer screens. So you come here, you forget your tablet, the agenda's here. It's on your screen. You don't have this book. So the digital copy is sent to you. There's multiple ways to do it. That's why I said R&D, because to come up with option 1, 2, and 3, what the cost is. Is it a cost savings, or is it cheaper to go like this?
so if it's an agenda item, Joe, you can present us with some options next meeting, correct?
Yes. If that's three of you say yes. I got two. Yes, three.
We just spent $265,000. We can afford to put some paper in a book every month.
I like to understand how much this costs us every month, every.
I have notes all
annually.
over every one of these.
Notes, I'm underlining,
get three, yeah.
circling.
You got to get three.
Okay, I got me.
I didn't get three, but I got two.
You said yes, no? Are you
Talking-
okay with looking at it?
I like the book, but you can go get some notes or figure out the costs and ideas if you want. I'm cool
Okay.
with that. But
I know. No, I know.
I'm team paper.
Okay.
I would like a smaller version.
Greg, are you okay with them looking at it?
Two, oh my
Coming
God.
up back.
Oh, I'll do digital. I'll
Okay.
just come over here and say, Yuli, can you print this out for me? please?"
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always do
Christy,
that.
in my experience, you almost can't. You have to do a hybrid because people want paper.
As long as I keep getting paper, y'all
Right,
can do
right.
whatever you want.
In my experience of doing this, there's going to be probably a hybrid. You could try it.
I don't want to be the problem child with
No,
my
Right,
I'm
right.
for.
tablet over here, so.
No,
So-
I'm for it.
You young
So
kids are
let them
changing
come
the
up back with
rules.
options. There's not one way of doing it. There's options to do it, and we can go hybrid, whatever
Right.
whatever the council chooses to go. But I think we can look at possibly a cost savings by not having to print this.
Plus, I would miss Manic coming to my door every 4 Fridays.
Well, we can send Manic over there every Friday.
wait, what?
Great use of his time.
She looks forward to him visiting her, bringing that packet.
What did he say?
John said he could have had it digitally, but he had to make a phone call.
Wait, did someone just put their hand up? Did you? Yes? I'm not sure. Sophia, did you want to speak?
Okay, come on. Sorry.
Sophia, you've been.
No, it's
you
okay,
missed
I
it,
was
you
not.
missed it. Come on up.
First off, John, thank you for remembering the monument, because Jim Tackett was my best friend at
Oh, that's incredible.
Shores, so
You're welcome.
I'm glad you brought that up.
You're welcome.
And speaking of frustrations, I left you a letter today.
Thank you.
Just for the record, could we get your name and address?
Terry Alice,
Mm.
1501 Mediterranean Road, Lake Clark Shores.
Thank you.
I am upset with the code enforcement right now. I'm sorry. Did you give everyone, since dirty driveways are the topic during hurricane season, coming here, Westlake, probably one driveway was clean. I do have a letter. I want to put it on record. I think it's the most ridiculous thing to give a violation during hurricane season. It's been raining every single day for the last 2 weeks. I'm going to clean my driveway, and then 2 weeks later, I'm going to have to clean it again because it's raining again outside. There are more important things, I feel, for the safety of the community and more code violations, like the house down the road that has a plywood on the window, plants growing out of the roof, tiles sitting on the roof. I'm sorry. I think you should renege on all of these code violations that you gave on Mediterranean Road and around the corner up to like where the Daggers live. It's just, I'm sorry. I more important things to be doing code violations right now.
Yes. You want me to?
Like, did everybody
ahead.
on Westlake get
I
a
d-
violation?
I did get your letter today. I just didn't get a chance to talk to staff and call you back. But I
know,
obviously will call you tomorrow when I talk to staff. But
It's okay, Joe, but did everyone on
no,
Westlake get one?
but just to answer your question, there's two kind of code violations. If one is a complaint, they have to act.
It's not.
I don't know. I
Ten
haven't
of us got,
I haven't researched it yet.
So our code officer did respond to a complaint, and I can tell you that several residences were issued code violations. And as I said earlier in the meeting, we want to work with residents to come into compliance. So that could be a notice for you that that needs to be done. And all I would suggest to you is to reach out to Mr. Richwagon and explain your situation, and he can give you enough time to come into compliance.
The code enforcement officer.
Code officer.
I'll handle it with you.
fact of the matter is, it's the whole Mediterranean road around the corner, and some were mixed that were dirtier than others. I personally, sorry, you know Greg, I've been here 31 years. My house is always spotless. I pressure clean. Dana knows 2 to 4 times a year, but my driveway is dirty. It's not black. It's been raining every day. I'm going to have to pressure clean it, and in 2 weeks down the road, I'm going to be pressure cleaning it again because it's hurricane season.
I do understand what you're saying, and what I wanted to assure you was based on a complaint. And as Mr. Lobello is,
Complained about the
somebody complained about dirty driveways
And roofs.
and roofs. And the code officer did go out and cite everybody that did have a dirty driveway, and he will work with you to give you time to come into compliance. Just normal dirt is not cited. It's usually when you have mold that's been sitting there for several months. I do my driveway twice a year also, so I completely understand the situation. But he will be more than happy to work with you.
My roof is filthy. My roof, I'll be admit, is filthy. Dust. I did not get a violation or a warning for my roof. I got one from my driveway. And it's all the way, all my neighbors on Mediterranean around. But the dirtiest one didn't get one. And then driving down Westlake, coming to this meeting, they were filthy.
I'll be more than happy to talk with you after the meeting or tomorrow if you would like.
Would want you to. Thank you. Because hurricane season, nobody's going to keep their driveway clean. I'm sorry. It's hurricane season. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure.
Thank you.
Sure. I've got one more item, but go ahead. No, still open.
My name is Michael Siglakis, and I know some of you already up here. I'm here on behalf of all my fellow
Colleagues.
police officers over here. I was a police officer for Lake Clark Shores for about 2 years, and I was part-time, and I ran the Marine unit, and I had a great time when I was here. Now, I missed Corporal Dominguez's speech that he gave, but
It was excellent.
Yes.
I had an opportunity to read it while I was sitting here, and I think it's spot on, just so you know, with everything he's asking for. Now, I was offered a position, when I was part-time, I was offered a position to go full-time, and I couldn't accept it for the pay. A lot of the reasons he went over were the exact reasons that I couldn't accept the position. So I wound up going with another department, which I'm at now. But like you all say over and over again in these meetings, how much you absolutely love this town. And from your closing remarks, I can hear that you all love the police department. So I feel that you're going to work with them and you're going to do something great for them. I think that's the only thing we're really missing on this side is getting something done for these guys to, good officers here. They love the town as much as you do, just retention. You'll have guys here for 20, 30 years, easy. You've had some already that have been here that long, even without the pension or the pay.
He doesn't remember when Howell pranked him at my house. 4th of July, he comes up, we're having a party, and goes, we had a complaint that you're doing fireworks there. I said, me? There's Howell laughing at the car. He turns around and looks at him, what? So we love you guys. Don't think we don't.
Yeah, so
we respect tremendously what you
and
all do.
And I know you do. I know you do.
Yes.
And it's a great place to work. It's a great town. So I'm up here on behalf of them, just speaking out, saying you have lost good officers. There was another guy, Officer Pete Mensa, who was also hired with me, we lost him for the same reason, you know?
So what you're saying is, if we can get this thing figured out, you're coming back home.
That's what I heard. You know what?
I'm thinking that's what I'm hearing here.
Don't think I wouldn't consider that.
That's what I heard,
You guys
John.
are great. They really are. The admin
That's what I
staff,
heard.
everybody's phenomenal.
He's
It is
he's a good
delightful
man. Mike's a good man.
Yeah, Mike, you did my tour of the lake.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. We went out. I love
went out together.
Really did.
He did mine too.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
That's right. Hope you guys, everybody's doing good. So thank you very much for the time to speak.
Thank you. Good seeing you,
Thank you
Mike.
so much.
Thank you. You know, we're a new council up here, so I think we started on a new slate with coming up with that's trying to do the right thing and bring you up to par, and make this town a town that the police officers want to stay, that we can hire and stay, have retention. And we have our new chief here, and we echo the sentiments of he supports all the a lot of the things that you're requesting. But remember, we got to do a fair contract. It's got to be good for the town, which is all got to be good for you. And like I mentioned to him, I was on the union side, so I get negotiations, and we're all not going to get everything we want. So we understand compromise. We hopefully will get to that stage that we can move forward and everybody's satisfied with the final product. And I have one last thing that if the council will so appease me, I'd like to see if we can possibly on the next CRA meeting explore the tagline branding issue. Just agenda it, and have a discussion. And if it goes nowhere, if we could, I think it's something that we've put aside, and if it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. But I think if the will is not there, I understand. But I think it's something that would help this town move forward. But is that a yes or a no?
Put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, got 3. I heard 3.
Thank you. And
I didn't.
I didn't actually hear. Or does she count in a third for a consensus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's bringing it up.
First, I listened to you, and then
Well, this is the same, the proposal that we had for $30,000, right?
No,
Before?
I wouldn't bring. I just bring up I'm going to say that.
Oh, it's not? It wasn't the marketing and branding
Yeah.
proposal where they were going to
Yes.
develop the tagline for $30,000?
Yes, but I'm just.
Oh, that's.
It was a no first, so I just want to make sure, because I remember that conversation.
We looked it up. We didn't find a no. You guys didn't vote on it.
Right.
So we
just in general
if you
decided
guys voted no,
$30,000
you can't bring it up for a year.
Oh,
for Robert
I mean,
rules.
if we're looking to spend $30,000, I'm not for
tagline.
it.
Part of the discussion would be to spend money. Some of it we could do it internally. I don't know what.
Right.
It's her item, not my item.
No, I just want to bring up for discussion and what our options are. If it goes nowhere, it goes nowhere. But I think it's something we need to explore.
Which agenda would you want?
A CRA, the October CRA meeting. I've sat through a lot of coalitions and different cities, and some of these Green Acres just came up with one, and they're very successful with it. So it's not unheard of, and I don't know if there's something we can do that doesn't cost as much as this firm. I don't know what our other options are, so I just like to look at it. I know we discussed about getting assistant. I don't know if that's something that you're going to look at, or is that something that falls in line with the tagline issue?
Oh, getting staff.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for that. So.
Okay. All right, so we'll just agenda it, and if it goes nowhere, then, if the will of the council is to not do anything, but I'd like to see if there's any other options, to at least, if there's anything possible, maybe even a tagline. We don't have to go the full branding, or if the will is not there, then the will is not there.
Well, tagline and branding are going to be two different ballgames.
I completely
Yeah.
understand that. That's what I mean. So we don't have to do both, and we don't have to do any if the consensus isn't here. But I think it's something we should, we just did this CRA for this park thing. I think it could fall in line with that process as far as this town. And John had indicated that, we've got the bridge done, we get the parks done, and everybody's going to want to start moving in this community. We're going to get the police up to speed.
Are we gonna discuss it now?
Yeah, no,
Or
no,
is
no,
it
no,
for-
I'm just
'cause
saying, no,
You're
no,
presenting all your points and
No, no,
that
no,
makes me
I
wanna
di-
jump in, but it's.
no, no, it's, no, I just wanna, if the consensus does agenda it, we'll talk about it further. And any other council comments? Meeting adjourned. We have a motion? A motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Did you just second your own motion?
No, I thought you did it first.
We have a.
We might be on the same wavelength.
We have a primary,
I can feel her
secondary.
getting tense over here. She's got a baby at home.